Chapter 369. Following Cool Breeze was very annoyed with this strange woman. The first thing she said was that he had cheated the woman's feelings. Following Cool Breeze even felt that this woman could not love him in the real world, and was only going against him in this game. Today was supposed to be the day of the establishment of the sect. The other party's provocative behavior was simply stepping on the dignity of the Dragon Follower gang. It was also an insult to him as the gang leader. If he did not make this kneel and worship this queen unable to jump around today, in the future, other people would think that the Dragon Follower gang could be casually stepped on. Ning Shu wanted to make Following Cool Breeze lose his reputation, and Following Cool Breeze wanted to use Ning Shu to establish his prestige, killing the chicken to warn the monkey. Following Cool Breeze had already decided that this time he would not kill the opponent by 5 levels, but directly kill her back to the novice village, so that she could not jump around in front of him. It would be best if she could not stay in the game anymore. Following Cool Breeze's eyes flashed a ray of light, and his attacks became even more ferocious. Ning Shu was also not to be outdone. He followed Cool Breeze and resisted. Only after resisting like this did he feel that Following Cool Breeze's strength was strong. Ning Shu fiercely counterattacked. He did not care about losing levels at all. As long as he could make the opponent lose levels, he was willing to make any sacrifices. The surrounding players looked at these two ferocious appearances as if they had a deep hatred. They looked at each other in dismay and their blood boiled. A chrysanthemum faces south. Boss, looks like you can't easily defeat, kneel and worship this queen. Yu Rong big breasts tightly frowned. This woman is really fierce. She is completely fighting without any regard for her life. Instead, it is making boss's hands and feet tied. To establish our prestige, we need to one-shot her to establish our prestige. Wind blows my balls cold, and monsters are strong. You go first. Both felt that something was wrong. Boss's strength is definitely stronger than kneel and worship this queen, but one shot is a bit unrealistic. Io, Boss has been killed by kneel and worship this queen, and lost a level. A chrysanthemum faces south, slapped his thigh and said, but kneel and worship this queen has already been killed by Boss and lost 3 levels. So what if he was level 3? Everyone could only watch as the Dragon Follower gang's leader was killed and his level dropped. That was enough. On the other hand, Ning Shu, who was fighting with Following the Breeze, felt pain all over her body. Following the Breeze was really strong, but she wasn't someone to be trifled with. She had already said that if she didn't kill Following the Breeze today, she would crawl back. How could 1 level be enough? Ning Shu equipped himself with all of his equipment. On the other side, Following the Breeze's face darkened. He pursed his lips and looked at Ning Shu with loathing. The long sword in his hand flashed with a brilliant light. Your strength is not bad, but if you think that you can rely on these equipment to make up for the level difference, you're thinking too much. Following Cool Breeze's entire body was also equipped with equipment. Every piece of equipment on his body was a top-notch divine artifact. The surrounding players were drooling at the sight of Yi Shiwen's gorgeous godly equipment. Their eyes were red with jealousy. These were all things that could only be bought with a ticket. Being able to have 1 divine artifact was already pretty good, but Yi Shiwen's entire body was full of them. Ning Shu saw that Following the Breeze was fully equipped. Instead of getting angry, she laughed and said, "You being so serious means that you are afraid of me. You're even wearing equipment on your body. Very good, very good." When Ning Shu said this, the surrounding people's gazes became a bit subtle. Originally, Following the Breeze's level was higher than Ning Shu's. Now that he was using a divine artifact, there was a bit of an unfair advantage. Adding on the fact that Ning Shu was a female player, Following the Breeze's actions seemed to be even more of a bully. Following the Breeze's face darkened. A few of his companions, the core members of the Dragon Follower gang, all had a look of displeasure on their faces. They looked at Ning Shu with unkind eyes. The opponent's method of not leaving any leeway made him an enemy. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south. A burly man rubbed his head and viciously said, "In the future, every time I see kneel to me, I will kill her once and make her stay in the beginner village for the rest of her life." He really thought that they were pushovers. If he wanted to step on the dragon follower gang to become famous, he would have to see whether or not it would hurt his feet. Monsters are strong, you go first, frowned. How did boss provoke such a lunatic? No matter how you look at it, this woman is crazy. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, sneered. Boss is handsome, he will always attract crazy bees and butterflies. At this time, Lost Mimi came over and asked, a chrysanthemum blossoms to the south? Boss will win, right? A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, seeing such a cute girl, rubbed his head and said, don't underestimate boss. How can a great god be defeated so easily? Lost Mimi immediately became happy. Her apple-like face was flushed red, making people feel comfortable just by looking at her. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south. His eyes revealed a wolf-like green light. She really was a top-grade little beauty. Bing bing, I knew that boss wouldn't lose. Lost Mimi pulled bing 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 and said excitedly. Bing ching bing 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 made a sound and did not say anything. Seeing such a cute girl, a chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, started drooling and stared at Lost Mimi. Lost Mimi, yes, your Mimi is indeed lost. She doesn't even have one. Lost Mimi hurriedly covered her chest with her arms and shouted angrily, you pervert, Mimi means cat. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, only laughed ambiguously. Chrysanthemum, that's enough. Stop messing around. Monsters are strong, you go first, glanced at Lost Mimi, frowned and said, boss is fighting up there, and you are teasing girls here. On the battle stage, Ning Shu was unable to take it anymore. She had already lost 10 levels to Following Cool Breeze. Using the method of exchanging life for life, Ning Shu had already killed Following Cool Breeze by 5 levels. Following Cool Breeze would have to work hard to regain 5 levels of experience. Although she had also been killed by Following Cool Breeze, she had already lost 10 levels. Both sides were already angry. Following Cool Breeze was very ruthless. Ning Shu directly attacked him. She was not afraid at all. At worst, she would just give up on this ID and register a new one. Following Cool Breeze was willing to give up his Great God ID? Moreover, this ID was the boss of a guild. Following Cool Breeze was unwilling. Ning Shu had a plan in her heart. She did not care about anything else and did not defend anymore. Following Cool Breeze was shocked by the attack on Ning Shu. The opponent did not care about anything else and only attacked him. Even if the opponent's level was dropping rapidly, he was still attacked. Ning Shu's level was dropping rapidly, but, Following Cool Breeze, was directly killed by Ning Shu and lost 10 levels. 10 levels. Following Cool Breeze was so angry that he wanted to die. At the same time, he was also terrified. The opponent's attitude made him very scared. He even wondered if he had really hurt the girl's feelings. Following Cool Breeze used a big move and directly cleared Ning Shu's level to 0. Then, Ning Shu was forced to return to the beginner village. Change your ID and start over. Following Cool Breeze, just you wait. World News, Following Cool Breeze, challenge victory. World News, Following Cool Breeze, challenge victory. World News, Following Cool Breeze, challenge victory. This news was broadcasted 3 times in a row, and even the sound of fireworks rang out. It seemed very jubilant. Chapter 370. Following the Cool Breeze won, but his heart was not happy at all. Instead, it was filled with irritation that was hard to get rid of, making Following the Cool Breeze's face very ugly. To actually encounter a challenge when establishing a sect, and the leader was even killed and lost 10 levels, it was not easy to reach level 10. Thus, Following the Cool Breeze did not establish his power very smoothly. The dragon following gang members all had black faces, especially Following the Cool Breeze's few companions, who were all frowning. Following the Breeze jumped off the stage. Don't wear underwear, cold balls, asked boss. I'm afraid that this woman is really here to take revenge on you. Looking at her ferocious appearance, did you really do something to make her hate you? Following the Cool Breeze's mood was very bad. When he heard his own members questioning him, his tone was very bad. What do you mean I really did something? I didn't do anything at all, I just met a crazy person. Balls don't wear underpants, pursed his lips and did not say anything. The others saw that there was going to be hostility between the two, so they quickly mediated. Following the cool breeze, turned around and left. Lost Mimi did not care about Clear Ice Lotus beside her and quickly followed, following the cool breeze. Following the cool breeze, glanced at her from the corner of his eyes and coldly said, "What are you following me for?" Lost Mimi said very sincerely, "You're so strong, you directly killed that female player." "You really think I'm strong?" Following the cool breeze, sneered and said. Seeing this girl's face full of reverence, he felt a lot better in his heart. Lost Mimi said as if it was a matter of course, "You have always been strong, really." Ning Shu was forced to return to the novice village. She was now a little novice. If she wanted to train this account back, she would need more time than a new account. Ning Shu immediately cancelled this ID and registered a new one called, "This Queen is Here Again." However, this ID also chose the mage class. Then, Ning Shu began his days of learning code while grinding dungeons. Ning Shu's coding skills were now a little better than before. Sometimes, when he went to dungeon, he could even change the boss coding, making it much easier to kill bosses. However, Ning Shu encountered a problem when she went out to grind bosses. Many players attacked her the moment they saw her. This made Ning Shu speechless. For example, now that she had just finished killing the boss, a male player with the ID, "Let the Lord be enlightened," stopped Ning Shu and said, "You are, kneel and worship this queen." Ning Shu asked curiously, "Who is kneel and worship this queen? I don't know her." Let the Lord be enlightened felt that his intelligence had been insulted and said, "The Dragon Gang has issued a bounty. As long as I can kill you, I can get the equipment. If you let me kill you, you can leave. I know you are, kneel and worship this queen. Your new ID is, this queen is back, and you are also a martial master. Don't joke around, you are so open, who doesn't know? Stand there and let me kill you, this way everyone can report back." Ning Shu was speechless. She didn't think that following the wind would have this move, a bounty. He really didn't even want his face anymore. Ning Shu was someone who was about to level up. She directly killed, "Let the Lord be enlightened." When she met players who wanted to get rich, Ning Shu directly killed them and lowered their level. After a long time, some low-level players didn't come to find trouble with Ning Shu, but it was the high-level players that came to find trouble with Ning Shu. Ning Shu didn't think that the Dragon Gang would be so willing. The equipment that could move high-level players should be something good, or else these high-level players wouldn't be so persistent in finding trouble with her. Towards these people, Ning Shu would definitely not be merciful. Even if she had to risk her life, she would teach these people a lesson, or else they would always come to find trouble with her. She didn't have that much free time. Every time the players that came to find Ning Shu, they would all be killed by Ning Shu until their level dropped, and Ning Shu also obtained the title of Killing Level Demon King. Ning Shu didn't want to find trouble with Following the Wind for the time being, but she didn't expect to meet him in an intermediate dungeon. In a short period of time, Following the Wind's level went back, and now Following the Wind was bringing Lost Mimi and Icy Lotus, these two rookies, to clear dungeons. Along the way, Following the Wind was arguing with Lost Mimi, mainly because Following the Wind liked to tease Lost Mimi too much. Following the Wind felt that this little girl was too gullible, too pure, and he couldn't help but want to tease her. For example, if he told her that there was a herb in front of her, she would immediately run over, but if she didn't see the herb, she would immediately pull a long face and accuse him of lying. But she didn't learn from her mistakes, and was always tricked by him. And Icy Lotus, at the side, was a bit embarrassed. Following behind the two of them, she couldn't say anything, only looking at the figures of the two people in front of her, her eyes were filled with hidden bitterness. Just like this, the two teams met, and Ning Shu saw Following the Wind, smiled and said, "Yo, your level went back again, as expected of a great god." Following the Wind saw the smile on her face, and a wave of disgust welled up in his heart. Before she looked at him as if he was her enemy, and now she was smiling. She was simply crazy. Even if you changed your account, you are still a weakling. Following the wind, said coldly. Ning Shu smiled and said, "Is that so? Sooner or later, I will kill you back to the beginner village. Who knows who will be the one returning to the beginner village?" Following the wind, said coldly. Following the wind narrowed his eyes, seeing that the other's level wasn't very high, he sneered, "Now I will let you return to the beginner village. Once you reach the beginner village, I will kill you back to the beginner village." Ning Shu rubbed his chin and nodded. "This is really a good idea. In the future, I will kill you back to the beginner village again and again." Following the wind's eyes became fierce, and he wanted to make a move. Ning Shu wasn't afraid of following the wind at all. It was a good opportunity to test out his own code. Lost Mimi blocked following the wind. In front of following the wind, Ning Shu asked, "Sister, why do you always want to fight with our gang leader? If you have something to say it properly." Ning Shu looked at the naive and cute Lost Mimi. Why is she protecting following the wind? Ning Shu suddenly said, "Because following the wind deceived my sister's feelings, I came to find him for revenge." Lost Mimi was stunned. Deceived feelings? Following the wind's face darkened. He pushed Lost Mimi behind him, looked at Ning Shu and said coldly, "You are spreading rumors. I didn't deceive a girl's feelings at all." Following the wind directly pulled out his sword and chopped at Ning Shu's head. Ning Shu dodged following the wind's attack and coldly said, "You can't win in words, so you attack. Aren't you just angry out of humiliation?" Lost Mimi bit her lips and looked at Ning Shu, and then looked at following the wind. Following the wind felt that Lost Mimi, this girl, was quite interesting and didn't want her to misunderstand, so immediately Ning Shu coldly scolded, "Shut up." Chapter 371. Following the cool breeze, saw that Ning Shu always put the title of a heartless man on his head, especially in front of Lost Mimi, this little girl, and his heart immediately became angry. Fuck, he really wanted to kill this crazy woman. It was simply too bad. "You want me to shut up, so I'll shut up. Why would I listen to your words?" Ning Shu sneered. "Come and hit me, even if you kill me, I'll still say it." Lost Mimi pouted her cherry red lips and snorted, then turned her head and did not look at following the cool breeze. Following the cool breeze took a deep breath, thinking about what sins he had committed in his previous life to meet such a crazy person in this life, and it was even a female crazy person who completely relied on her brain to imagine things. Following the cool breeze, saw that the little girl was angry, and looked at Ning Shu with an even colder gaze. Holding a sharp sword in his hand, he released a big move towards Ning Shu, really wanting to beat Ning Shu into ashes. Ning Shu very straightforwardly laughed and directly jumped away. Then with a point of his finger, the grass under following the cool breeze's feet instantly grew into vines, entangling following the cool breeze's feet. Following the cool breeze was entangled by the vines and could not break free, so he directly used his sword to cut off the vines. But as soon as he cut off the vines, new vines immediately grew out to entangle him. Following the cool breeze flipped in the air, but as soon as he touched the ground, vines would immediately grow out from his feet, making following the cool breeze very annoyed. Ning Shu bared his teeth and said to following the cool breeze, "This is my pet, you'll be firmly entangled by it." This 1,000-mile vines code had been modified by her, making it abnormally strong, and the ability to entangle was infinitely expanded. It was simply awesome. Following the cool breeze was finally entangled by the vines. His hands and feet were entangled, and he did not have the slightest ability to resist. Ning Shu cracked his fingers, held the big sword in his hand, and walked step by step towards following the cool breeze. Slash by slash he slowly cut down following the cool breeze's level. Lost Mimi saw that following the cool breeze was entangled and could not break free from the vines, so she anxiously said to Icy Lotus, quickly save the guild leader." Icy Lotus's face flashed a gloomy color. She shook her head and said, "I can't beat her at all. What's the use of me going over?" This Lost Mimi was so anxious that her eyes turned red. "What should I do? What should I do?" Lost Mimi saw the female player with the ID This palace is here again, approached the guild master who had no power to resist like a demon. She took a deep breath and wanted to rush over to save Following the Breeze. There was no way to see Following Cool Breeze being bullied like this. This palace is coming again was really too unreasonable. Clear Lotus saw that Lost Mimi was about to righteously rush over, so she quickly pulled her back and said, "What are you doing? What's the use of you going over? Our levels aren't high to begin with. What if we annoy her and she kills us and drops our levels? But I can't just stand by and watch the gang leader become like this." Lost Mimi saw Following the Breeze continuously cutting down the vines. The sword in his hand emitted a roaring fire dragon, but these vines seemed to be endless. After being cut down, they grew back again. "I've already informed the rest of the gang. They're already on their way here. We're just waiting for them to arrive." But Lost Mimi kept staring at Blown by the Breeze. "That's enough. Even if you rush up, you won't be able to help Sect Master." Icy Lotus sounded impatient, but Lost Mimi didn't notice it. She apologized to Icy Lotus. "Icy Lotus, I'm sorry." Lost Mimi said as she rushed in front of Ning Shu. She opened her arms to block Ning Shu, not letting Ning Shu go with the wind. Ning Shu was speechless. Seeing Lost Mimi standing in front of him with a strong and resolute face, Ning Shu was suddenly speechless. He didn't know what to say at all. He felt that he was really a bad guy. When Following the Breeze saw Lost Mimi's actions, his heart was unspeakably complicated. This girl was really an idiot. She wouldn't really be killed. This was just a game. Looking at such a pure and serious girl, something took root and sprouted in Blown by the Wind's heart, breaking open his heart. Little idiot, go to the side. There's nothing for you to do here." Following the Breeze shouted at Lost Mimi. Her level was very low, and she was also a medicine master who didn't have any battle experience. What was the use of her blocking in front? The most important thing was that in the holographic game, one could feel pain. If this queen came back and made a move on Lost Mimi would feel a lot of pain. The pain was real. "I won't let her hurt you." Lost Mimi turned her head and shouted at Following the Breeze. Ning Shu was speechless. Now she was the bad guy who broke up the Mandarin ducks? Sister, Following the Breeze is not the kind of person who deceives other people's feelings. There must be some misunderstanding between the two of you. You can talk it out. Attacking as soon as you meet is not a solution. Sister, can you let go of gang leader? Lost Mimi, Ning Shu explained. Ning Shu was speechless. The female lead was so kind. What should she do? No matter what she did, she felt that she was a bad guy. What should she do? Ning Shu directly let a vine drag Lost Mimi away. He didn't kill her and drop her level. Lost Mimi, who was being dragged away by the vines, was so scared that her face turned pale and she screamed. When Following the Breeze saw this situation, he did not care about the vines around him and cut off the vines that were wrapped around Lost Mimi's ankle. But Following the Breeze himself was completely entangled by the vines. His 4 limbs were entangled. Under the burden of Lost Mimi, Following the Breeze completely lost his fighting strength. "Go to the side." Following the Breeze shouted at Lost Mimi. His face was a bit ferocious. Lost Mimi immediately started crying. She felt very wronged in her heart. She was trying to save him, yet the clan leader was still so fierce to her. However, when she saw that Following Cool Breeze was being controlled, Lost Mimi felt a dull pain in her heart. She simply did not know why. She kept feeling very uncomfortable. She even resented Ning Shu. Ning Shu shouted, "You vicious woman." "I'm vicious, I'm proud." Ning Shu glanced at Lost Mimi and directly went in front of Following the Breeze. He laughed coldly. "Let's see who will go to the novice village first." Ning Shu took the big knife and slashed at Following the Breeze. Following the Breeze was in so much pain that his face turned pale. In a short while, Following the Breeze was killed by Ning Shu and dropped 2 levels. Ning Shu was very happy to slash people. Following the Breeze looked at Ning Shu with even more resentment and loathing. Chapter 372. Following the Cool Breeze was entangled by the vines and could not move. He was like a fish on a chopping board, being slashed by the woman in front of him. His level dropped rapidly like a broken elevator, and the pain of being slashed by the knife was the most infuriating. Following the Cool Breeze looked at Ning Shu with bloodshot eyes. Ning Shu tilted his head and looked at Following the Cool Breeze and said, "You don't like knives?" Ning Shu put away the knife and took out a whip. The pitch-black whip, with a flick of it, there was an explosive sound in the air. Following the Cool Breeze, his pupils trembled, clearly stunned. He finally confirmed that he had really met a crazy person. Ning Shu swung her whip, and with a crackling sound, it landed on Following the Breeze's body. Following the Breeze's level dropped rapidly, and the whip landed on Following the Breeze's body, causing it to feel a burning pain. The two little girls next to him were stunned. Lost Mimi covered her mouth and cried. The last Lost Mimi could not take it anymore. Ning Shu roared, "You're so cruel, how can you be like this?" Ning Shu smiled, "There's nothing I can't do." If she and Following the Cool Breeze were to exchange places, and Following the Cool Breeze treated her like this, Lost Mimi would probably think that the clan leader was mighty and domineering. The double standard was too serious. Just as Following the Cool Breeze was about to be killed back to the beginner village, Following the Cool Breeze, few companions finally arrived. Lost Mimi saw that her savior had finally arrived and cried towards the few people, "Hurry and save the clan leader. The clan leader is being tortured by that woman. She's so scary." When the few people saw Following the Cool Breeze level, they were simply stunned. They quickly destroyed the vines on Following the Cool Breeze body. Ning Shu blew on his whip and lashed out at Following the Cool Breeze, making the few people's faces turn black and their faces tremble. The burly man, a chrysanthemum blossoms to the south, looked at Ning Shu and said darkly, "Don't go too far." The few of them stared at Ning Shu with unfriendly eyes. Ning Shu sneered, "You've gone too far. Your dragon gang put out a bounty for other players to kill me. You've gone too far." The few of them worked together to bring Follow the Breeze down. Follow the Breeze's expression was indifferent as he pointed at Ning Shu and said, "I will make you pay the price. You can't stay in this game anymore." Ning Shu patted her chest and said, "I'm so scared. You should raise your novice level first before we talk." Ning Shu pointed his whip at Following the Breeze and said, "That's what I said. I'll make sure you can't stay in this game any longer." Following the Breeze's expression was extremely ugly. He stared at Ning Shu and then looked away. "You've succeeded in pissing me off." Follow the Breeze turned around and left. The other people frowned and glanced at Ning Shu. In the end, they all followed Follow the Breeze. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south. Ning Shu grinned, revealing his white teeth. He made a throat-slitting gesture towards Ning Shu. "No matter who you are, you're really out of luck. If we get serious, you might not be able to bear the consequences." Ning Shu said indifferently, "There's nothing that I can't bear." Following the Breeze saw that Lost Mimi was in a daze and his voice was filled with warmth. "Girl, let's go. What are you still standing there for?" Previously, Lost Mimi's actions made Following the Breeze feel very touched. There was a girl who was willing to stand up for him when he was in danger. Although her strength was very weak, it still made Following the Breeze feel warm in his heart. Before, he felt that this girl was stupid. Now, he felt that this girl was really stupid. Stupid to the point that she was cute and made people feel sorry for her. Icy Clear Lotus saw that, with the Cool Breeze, only called Lost Mimi and did not pay attention to her at all. She immediately bit her lips and felt indignant in her heart. Why did these people only see Lost Mimi and were all comforting her? If she did not call people to save Following the Breeze, would Following the Breeze be able to escape from the hands of "This palace is coming again"? Lost Mimi was so stupid and would only cause trouble. Following the Breeze was tied up because Lost Mimi dragged him down. Why did Following the Breeze not blame her? People who did the right thing did not have a single word of praise. People who caused trouble without brains could still get other people's attention and praise. Icy Clear Lotus could not understand. Why was this? Why did Following the Breeze only place his eyes on this stupid girl? Icy Clear Lotus looked at Lost Mimi, who was crying and laughing at Following the Breeze. Following the Breeze was even gently wiping away her tears. Annoyance and jealousy rose in her heart. Why did Following the Breeze only like Lost Mimi? But Ning Shu kept the 1,000-mile vine. He cleared the intermediate level instance dungeon and prepared to return to the city. But on the way back, Ning Shu clearly felt that there was something wrong with the way people looked at him. Among them were quite a few high-level players. Moreover, they were the kind of high-level gods. The way these people looked at him was like he was a piece of high-quality equipment. Ning Shu was very vigilant in his heart, but he was still blocked by a player. Ning Shu looked at this person. He did not recognize him, but his level was very high. He was just a bit lower than Following the Breeze, who did not level up. Why are you blocking me? Don't tell me you want to kill me? Ning Shu looked at him. His level was not low, so it would take some effort to get rid of him. This player with the ID Lousy Invincible Handsome looked at Ning Shu without any malice and said, "You can only blame your bad luck. Now that Following the Dragon Gang has increased the rewards, just a full attribute triple cross flat top swallow wing purple gold crown is enough to make people go crazy. There are also a lot of other high-quality equipment." Ning Shu had heard of this equipment. The purple gold crown was the most popular equipment among male players. At the same time, it was also the most expensive equipment. It was simply a tool to show off. If it was converted to RMB, it would be worth at least 10,000 yuan. Ning Shu sneered. Following the Breeze was really willing to use a large sum of money to lure players. He made her face enemies from all sides, and in the end, she could only leave the game world. But Following the Breeze did not know that she was originally a part of this game. If she could register an infinite number of IDs. Moreover, she could change her appearance and continue to mingle in this game. If she was a real player, he was afraid that she would really be attacked by Following the Breeze, to the point that she would not dare to enter this game again. Ning Shu felt that Following the Breeze in real life should have a rich family, and the people that Following the Breeze hung out with should not be bad either. Right now, they were ganging up against her. Following the Breeze had been killed by her so many levels. If she lost another 2 levels, she would really have to go back to the novice village to relevel. Right now, she was determined to take revenge on her. Today, there was Lousy Invincible Handsome. Tomorrow, there would be Lousy Invincible Handsome. Players who wanted equipment would all come to find trouble with her. Chapter 373. Towards these people who wanted to use him as a stepping stone to obtain equipment, Ning Shu would not tolerate them. He released the 1,000-mile vine and entangled the players who were blocking him. Invincible Commander, who was entangled by the 1,000-mile vine, struggled violently. Seeing Ning Shu's cold face, he smiled and said, "Beauty, I was just joking. I just wanted to see what it was like to make the Dragon Gang's great god jump up in anger." Ning Shu grinned, "You're too modest. You're also a great god." Ning Shu took a knife and cut down Invincible Commander's level. Everyone was not a good person, so there was no need to talk about mercy. If his strength was too weak, these people would swarm over and treat him as a money tree. They would treat him as a boss that dropped equipment. He was much more pitiful than these people. After cutting down the person's level, Ning Shu very carefreely left. Invincible Commander grimaced as he looked at Ning Shu's back. This woman was really too violent. It would be very difficult to get back after being cut down. It seemed like this equipment was not that easy to get. Following the Cool Breeze made all the players target her. She definitely wanted to get revenge. Because the ID Following the Cool Breeze was a great god account. Following the Cool Breeze could not bear to part with this account. Even if it took a long time to level back, Following the Cool Breeze still wanted to level back. Therefore, Ning Shu was now wasting time with following the cool breeze. Whichever instance following the cool breeze appeared in, Ning Shu would immediately rush over and kill following the cool breeze. As long as he leveled up, he would take advantage of the fact that his level was not high to kill him back to the beginner village. Let him start over from the beginner village. He didn't know if, with the breeze, was really inseparable from Lost Mimi. Lost Mimi was just an alchemist that didn't have any battle power. With the breeze, even brought Lost Mimi along to level up. Lost Mimi was very happy. To be able to accompany the clan master back to the peak, this kind of excitement was even happier than leveling up by herself. So when Ning Shu killed following the breeze, Lost Mimi would immediately condemn Ning Shu, saying that Ning Shu was a perverted woman. Ning Shu gladly accepted the title of perverted woman. He didn't even speak to Lost Mimi. This was because she only considered things from her own point of view. She only saw that her favorite following the breeze had been killed and his level dropped, but she did not see the trouble that following the breeze had brought to her by throwing money. Ning Shu didn't want to argue with her at all because it didn't make sense. Every time following the breeze was killed by Ning Shu, he would use a very hateful and disgusted expression to look at Ning Shu. In addition to Lost Mimi's condemning gaze, Ning Shu, who was bathed in the "you are a bad person" gaze, felt very sour. Ning Shu knew that the hatred between following the breeze and himself was irreconcilable, so every time he acted, he was very ruthless. Following the breeze was killed by Ning Shu and sent back to the beginner village twice. Following the breeze also learned to be obedient. Every time he went to the instance dungeon, he would bring a few of his companions to escort him. He could see that this woman was crazy. Ning Shu saw that following the breeze had called his people. That serious look made Ning Shu directly laugh. A chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south, touched his head and looked at Ning Shu. As a person, don't go overboard. Don't think that just because you have a high level, we can still kill you. Ning Shu's legs were shaking. Come on, come and kill me. A chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south, sneered. You want me to fuck you, right? A crazy woman like you, even if you lay down and let me fuck you, I wouldn't fuck you. Ning Shu was speechless. Do you think you can fuck me just because you want to? Ning Shu sneered. Following the breeze, S companions' levels weren't low, and every one of them was a great god. Following the breeze, S level looked very shabby. Your level is really low. Look at your team members, every one of their levels is higher than yours. You still have the nerve to be the leader of the dragon follower gang. If you want some face, hurry up and give up your position. Ning Shu sneered maliciously. Following the breeze, S face was a bit ugly. Seeing that his own team members' levels were indeed much higher than his face became even uglier. Following the breeze had a very strong ego. This account should be the highest level out of all of them, but now, too many of them had been killed by this crazy woman. A chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south, viciously looked at Ning Shu. You are trying to sow discord between us. Let me tell you, the boss is the boss. No matter what level he is our boss. The monsters are very strong. You go first, immediately said, and then said to following the breeze, Boss, you will be able to quickly raise your level. You roam Big Milk. What kind of intentions do you have, woman? Why do you always go against us? If you have any grievances, then say it clearly. Why are you using underhanded methods like this? Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. He didn't think that following the breeze and his companions would support him so strongly. Supporting him wasn't right. Following the breeze was the leader of this team. He reckoned that in reality, following the breeze, S family background was definitely better than these people, and they were subconsciously trying to curry favor with following the breeze. However, Ning Shu only cared that he couldn't stay in this game any longer. He also didn't say much to these people. It was obvious that he wanted to fight. Ning Shu directly released his own 1,000-mile vine, entangling these people. A chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south, sneered. You think that you are the only one with good things. A chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south, also had a 1,000-mile vine. Although the vine wasn't as big as Ning Shu's, the 2,000-mile vines were entangled together. They were fighting with each other, and a large area of thorns intertwined with each other. Ning Shu laughed and snapped his fingers. His 1,000-mile vine immediately became bigger. Under everyone's gaze, a chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south, as vines were all swallowed up by Ning Shu's 1,000-mile vine. A chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south, frowned. The 1,000-mile vine also has this kind of effect? After this period of dungeon clearing, Ning Shu's level was already very high. At the very least, he was around the same level as Following the Breeze and his other companions. Moreover, he had the 1,000-mile vine with a very strong entanglement ability. Ning Shu immediately let the 1,000-mile vine entangle these people. However, a chrysanthemum blossoms towards the south, and the others weren't just for show. They had a lot of equipment on them, and they were all very strong. The vines couldn't even get close to their bodies. Ning Shu stepped on the vines and held his broadsword to fight with these people. Following the Breeze and Lost Mimi, as well as Icy Lotus, who didn't have much of a sense of existence, watched from the side. Following the Breeze clenched his fists. This kind of feeling of being weak really didn't feel good. Watching others fight so coolly, it made Following the Breeze's self-esteem shatter into pieces. Seeing his own team members stronger than him, this kind of feeling made him feel very bad. Chapter 374. Because of the existence of the 1,000-mile vine, Ning Shu and the few people were equally matched in the battle. Not only did the few people have to deal with Ning Shu, they also had to be harassed by the 1,000-mile vine. For a moment, both sides were locked in battle. Ning Shu glanced at Following the Cool Breeze, who was being protected by a few people, and hurriedly let the 1,000-mile vine drag Following the Cool Breeze over. Following the Cool Breeze saw this woman's gaze on him and felt that something was wrong. Then he saw the overwhelming number of vines rushing towards him. Following the Cool Breeze reflexively protected Lost Mimi behind him and tightly held the sword in his hand as he chopped at the vines that wanted to entangle him. Following the Breeze only protected the Lost Mimi and did not care about Icy Lotus at the side. Icy Lotus was quickly entangled by the vines. Although she did not die, she was still in pain from being strangled by the vines. Icy Clear Lotus blushed as she looked at Lost Mimi, who was behind Following the Breeze. Seeing Following the Breeze protecting her so much, her face twisted with jealousy. She also liked Follow the Breeze, but Follow the Breeze only liked Lost Mimi. Why, how was she inferior to that stupid Lost Mimi? Why did these people all like Lost Mimi, saying that she was a person with heavy thoughts and did not like her? Why could Lost Mimi be easily forgiven when she got into trouble? Was it okay because she was stupid? Just because she was a little more meticulous, they said that she was a person with deep thoughts. Based on what? The few people saw that Ning Shu was so sinister. When he was fighting with them, he actually went to sneak attack their boss. Following the Cool Breeze directly released an incomparably bright ball of light. This ball of light exploded and emitted a strong light, burning the vines. Ning Shu saw that the various attributes of the vines were decreasing and immediately kept the vines. He squinted his eyes and looked at Cool Breeze. This healer actually had such a strong battle strength? When Ning Shu kept the vines, the few people were very concerned about Following the Cool Breeze. Following the Cool Breeze shook his head, indicating that he was fine. Lost Mimi stood out and said to Ning Shu, "Sister, why do you always want to hurt our leader?" "Because I'm happy," Ning Shu said with a smile. Lost Mimi pouted and said, "I know you're doing this because you like gang leader. You're doing this to attract his attention. You can't get what you want and hate because of love. Don't you want someone to live a better life if you love him?" Ning Shu, who told you that?" Ning Shu's Lost Mimi asked. This little girl even knew that she couldn't get what she wanted, and that her love had turned into hate? Lost Mimi betrayed her partner without hesitation. She pointed at Icy Purity and said, "It was Bing Bing who told me. Bing Bing is very smart. She saw through your thoughts long ago." Icy Purity, who was coughing because of the vines, stared dumbfoundedly at her partner. She then looked at Ning Shu, who didn't have any expression on his face. Following the cool breeze, and the others all stared at Icy Purity. Icy Purity's face immediately turned red. She wanted to find a hole to hide in. Bing bing, don't you think so? Using the method of hurting others to attract attention. Since you really like him, you should treat him well and not hurt him like this. Bing bing, this is what you told me. Lost Mimi walked over and grabbed Icy Purity's hand. She said to Icy Purity, with a face full of certainty. Ning Shu really wanted to light a candle for this Icy Lotus clean girl. Icy Clear Lotus looked at Lost Mimi's face. At this time, the other party could still smile, and it was this kind of silly smile. Icy Clear Lotus couldn't help but want to slap her in the face. She stole the person she liked, and now she said these kinds of words to such a strong player. Was she looking down on her for not dying fast enough? Ning Shu used a move on Icy Purity and directly killed her by a level. He coldly said, "Don't use your thoughts to guess at me." Instigating Lost Mimi to hate her was just following the cool breeze. When Ning Shu made his move, following the cool breeze had already pulled Lost Mimi to the side. Ning Shu's attack wasn't strong and the others could completely block it. But for some reason, they didn't help Icy Purity to block the attack. Icy Purity felt pain all over her body. She knew that the other party was unhappy because of her words and punished her. He warned her not to speak carelessly, otherwise she would be killed and sent back to the beginner village. Icy Purity knew that the difference in strength between her and this queen is here again was too big. She didn't dare to show any hostility towards this queen is here again. But in her heart, she hated Lost Mimi. How could she say what they had said in private? Lost Mimi saw that her good friend was attacked and hurriedly ran over to Icy Purity and said anxiously, "Icy Purity, are you okay? How can you do this? You were seen through by Icy Purity, so you attacked Icy Purity. How can you be like this? Even if you have great strength in the game, in reality you are still a woman who is not worthy of love." Lost Mimi angrily roared at Ning Shu. She wanted to stand up for her friend. Ning Shu didn't say anything. He didn't even look at Lost Mimi and Icy Purity. He looked at the few men who didn't care about the matter and shrugged his shoulders. Are we still going to fight? Today we didn't kill following the cool breeze and drop his level. Count him lucky. I hope that you guys can protect him at any time in the future. Tisk he, following the cool breeze, Great God is now a soft-footed shrimp. He is a trash who needs people to protect him wherever he goes. Ning Shu said very viciously. Following the cool breeze, tightly clenched his fist. He looked at Ning Shu with eyes full of anger and disgust. He had never seen such a hateful woman before. You are talking nonsense. Our guild master is not a soft-footed shrimp. You are bullying our guild master just because your level is high. What kind of man are you? Lost Mimi saw that her sweetheart was being insulted and quickly said. Ning Shu looked at her and said, "You talk too much. Why are you jumping up and down? Is it fun?" Looking at her was really annoying. He really wanted to kill her. But looking at Icy Purity's gloomy face and looking at Lost Mimi with eyes full of hatred and jealousy, he didn't make a move. There was a big bad wolf by the little cutie's side. She would always be at a disadvantage. What a good drama of close friends turning against each other. Ning Shu felt that if he was Icy Purity, he would definitely be blackened. She was so righteous in tricking her teammates. Moreover, it would make people feel that she was pure and cute. She would say whatever she wanted to say. Wasn't that pure and cute? I will make you regret it. Following the cool breeze, coldly looked at Ning Shu. His eyes were full of coldness, whether it is in the game or in reality. Chapter 375. This grudge had not only intensified in the game, it had also spread to the real world. Following the breeze, had already been completely pissed off by this woman and wanted to use his power in the real world to make this woman pay the price. When Ning Shu heard that Following the Breeze wanted to deal with him in the real world, he only laughed. If you have the ability, come find me, following the breeze. A chrysanthemum blossoms southward, saw that this woman was still so stubborn and sneered, "You will die very miserably." Provoking the boss, "You are really going to be unlucky." Ning Shu raised his eyebrows and said, "Can you take out the name of the great god following the breeze in the real world and let me see if it can scare me to the ground?" Balls Cold Without Pants said, "Following the breeze's family is the richest family in Qinghai City. A casual word from them can make it difficult for you to move a single step in the real world." Ning Shu seemed to chuckle and said, "No wonder you all serve following the breeze, like you serve the crown prince. Aren't you just trying to curry favor with him?" Following the breeze coldly said, "We are childhood friends, so we treat each other as equals." Hearing Following the Breeze say treat each other as equals, the others did not say anything. Ning Shu did not comment. "What equal treatment? Don't joke around. Boss, you are a rich family's young master?" Lost Mimi curled her lips and did not look very happy. "What, I can't be a rich family's young master?" Following the Breeze raised his eyebrows and asked with interest. Lost Mimi curled her lips and said, "Rich people are not good people." "How we not good people?" A chrysanthemum blossoms southward, touched his head and said unhappily. Lost Mimi stubbornly said, "In any case, we are not good people." Ning Shu. "Just you wait, great god following the breeze. I will kill you every time I see you." Ning Shu said and turned to leave. "Boss, she's too arrogant," a chrysanthemum blossoms southward said as he looked at Ning Shu's back. Following the Breeze coldly said, "Tomorrow I will temporarily not enter the game." When the few of them heard Follow the Breeze say this, they knew what Follow the Breeze meant. It was obvious that he wanted to human search this woman and make "This queen is here again," in reality completely kneel down so that she would not be able to strut around in the game. Ning Shu didn't care at all about Cool Breeze checking him. What could she find out? It was just a game's programming code. No one would be able to guess her identity. Go ahead and check. Ning Shu went to clear a few Ultimate Instance dungeons, allowing her experience bar to rise rapidly. Moreover, there were many top-grade equipment, and she also leveled up the 1,000-mile vine. Now that her strength was strong, Ning Shu immediately went to find Following the Breeze. After not seeing him for a while, Following the Breeze also leveled up. This time, when Ning Shu met Following Cool Breeze again, Following Cool Breeze did not bring Lost Mimi with him. She did not know if it was because they quarreled or because he felt that it was too dangerous to bring Lost Mimi with him. When Following the Breeze saw Ning Shu, his face darkened. His expression was very complicated. He spent so much time, but he actually couldn't find out who this person was. Really, it was as if this person didn't exist in this world. It was simply inconceivable. Following the Breeze suspected that this woman's family was stronger than his, otherwise how could he not find out? Moreover, Following the Breeze couldn't remember when he had cheated a girl's feelings. This woman stared at him without letting go, making Following the Breeze feel extremely disgusted. Ning Shu looked around and asked, "Following the Breeze, why is there no one protecting you today? You actually dare to come out to clear an instance dungeon alone?" Ning Shu's tone was filled with disdain. Following the Breeze narrowed his eyes and looked at her. He suddenly asked, "Why do you keep following me like this?" "I've already said it many times," Ning Shu said indifferently. He pulled out his own knife and prepared to kill Following the Breeze. "Then I want to know who you are, and who is the girl that I hurt?" Following the Breeze stared at Ning Shu and asked. Ning Shu was a little surprised. This was the first time he saw Following the Breeze speak to him so politely. Moreover, it was using the method of an equal status. In the past, Following the Breeze would look at him with disdain. What was wrong with him now? Regardless of what was wrong with him, Ning Shu raised his large knife and smashed it towards Following the Breeze's head. Following the Breeze resisted Ning Shu's attack. Although it was strenuous, he still managed to persevere. Following the Breeze now only wanted to level by himself. Even if he knew that this crazy woman would come looking for him, Following the breeze, still did not want to lose face in front of his teammates. He did not even bring Lost Mimi. Ning Shu's current level was much higher than Following the Breeze. He did not even release the 1,000-mile vine before killing Following the Breeze back to the beginner village. Following the Breeze's face was extremely ugly. Ning Shu roared, "Who are you?" Ning Shu did not speak. After killing Following the Breeze back to the beginner village, Ning Shu felt extremely happy. Finally, he also let Following the Breeze return to the beginner village. In the following days, every time Following the Breeze wanted to level, Ning Shu would immediately rush over and kill Following the Breeze. Once Following the Breeze leveled up, Ning Shu would go and kill Following the Breeze. It was like shaving wool. When it grew, he shaved it. Following the Breeze was simply going crazy. Being bullied so badly, Following the Breeze even more did not want his teammates to know. He felt that it was extremely embarrassing. Seeing the opponent become stronger and stronger, Following the Breeze felt that he could not level up anymore. With such a crazy woman staring at him, no one would be able to stand it. So, Following the Breeze decided to change accounts. When Ning Shu was learning the code, he heard the world news. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south took over as the leader of the Dragon Gang. A chrysanthemum blossoms to the south became the leader of the Dragon Gang? Then what about Following the Breeze? Could it be that he left the gaming world? But the system did not notify him that the quest was completed. That meant that Following the Breeze had not left yet. The most likely thing was to change accounts and start over. Ning Shu hacked into the game's main system to check the newly registered accounts. He found a new account that looked a bit like Following the Breeze. The new account's ID was Lost Tibetan Mastiff? Lost Tibetan Mastiff? There was a Lost Mimi, and then there was a Lost Tibetan Mastiff. Could it be a couple account? Didn't Following the Breeze take the fresh and high-end route? How come there was such a big change in style? Ning Shu felt that he needed to test whether or not this Lost Tibetan Mastiff was Following the Breeze. Ning Shu found the Lost Tibetan Mastiff that was farming experience. His face was a bit similar to Following the Breeze, but it didn't seem like it. It was probably set, and the similarity with the original was estimated to be only 10%. Chapter 376. Ning Shu blocked Lost Tibetan Mastiff and shouted, "Following the cool breeze?" Following the cool breeze, S body immediately stiffened. He stared at Ning Shu and did not deny it. "You're really amazing." He had just opened a new account not long ago and wanted to quickly level up. He had even spent money to buy a lot of equipment, but this crazy woman had come knocking on his door again. "Crazy?" Ning Shu immediately laughed and happily said, "It really is you. I didn't think that you would change to a new account, and your level is not bad." Following the cool breeze, looked at the woman who was as happy as an old friend. His heart was filled with disgust. Why didn't this crazy woman just go and die? Ning Shu asked again, "Is your ID and Lost Mimi a couple account?" Following the cool breeze, "Go and die, crazy woman." Ning Shu ignored Following the cool breeze, his twisted face, and said with admiration, "I really didn't think that you would actually give up on Following the cool breeze. This is a godly account. Being killed by a crazy woman like you to the point that I can't even level up. What's the point of having it?" Following the cool breeze, S heart was filled with hatred for this woman. At the same time, he felt that being entangled by this crazy woman was truly a tragedy. For a moment, Following the cool breeze was somewhat dispirited. He had originally wanted to subdue this woman in the real world, but he did not think that he would not be able to find such a person. Following the cool breeze, S heart was filled with curses. Ning Shu smacked his lips and said, "Actually, I still like your Following the cool breeze name. Why did you have to be so stubborn and insist on having the same style as Lost Mimi? AI, what a pity. Why did you have to be called a Tibetan Mastiff? Following the cool breeze, go and die, bitch. I don't want to chat with you. After all, I'm the first person to find you. I don't have anything to say. You probably didn't tell your followers about this account, right? After all, it's not a good thing to start a new account. Wait until you reach the top again and appear in front of them as a god. Ning Shu acted as if he was chatting with an old friend. Following the breeze, did not want to bother with her at all. He released his own spirit beast and prepared to leave. Ning Shu directly released the 1,000-mile vine and entangled, following the breeze. Then, Ning Shu cut off all of following the breeze levels, leaving nothing behind. Following the cool breeze, once again returned to the new book village to stay. Following the cool breeze, now felt more melancholy than hatred. Just what kind of power supported this woman to find trouble with him again and again, insisting on killing him again and again without knowing fatigue? Ning Shu suddenly liked the feeling of a cat chasing a mouse. Every time, following the cool breeze, leveled up, Ning Shu would suddenly appear and kill following the cool breeze, change accounts and kill again, and then kill again, and then kill again, and then kill again. Following the cool breeze, did not even know how many times he had been killed by this crazy woman. Right now, he did not even have the slightest bit of passion to level up. Every time he leveled up, this woman would appear on time and kill him once. After killing him, she would chat with him as if they were good friends. Crazy. No matter how he changed accounts, this crazy woman would always be able to find him. What the hell was wrong with this person? Following the cool breeze, suspected that this woman was a hacker. That was why she could find him so accurately. What kind of spirit was this? Ning Shu kept his broadsword and comforted following the cool breeze by saying, "I believe that you will be able to level up very quickly. Good luck, I think very highly of you." Following the cool breeze did not appear in the game anymore. Ning Shu could not find the target and would always invade the game's main system without leaving a trace, trying to filter out the possible ID of following the cool breeze. But Ning Shu did not discover following the cool breeze. Ning Shu did not believe that following the cool breeze would just leave like this. As a high and mighty young master of a rich family, a young master with an extremely high self-esteem would just leave like this? Ning Shu even ran to the following dragon gang to find following the cool breeze, but was told that following the cool breeze would not play this game anymore. Not only did following the cool breeze not appear, Lost Mimi and Ice Clear Lotus also did not appear. Could it be that they went to develop feelings in the real world? She had a premonition that this would be another love story with pink bubbles. However, she really couldn't care less about the things in the real world. Ning Shu didn't want to care too much about things outside of the quest. All the grudges were in the game. Since Blown with the Wind wouldn't appear in the game, Ning Shu could not care less. However, she felt that following the cool breeze gave up too easily. It gave Ning Shu a very uneasy feeling. Of course, Ning Shu did not know that in following the cool breeze's heart, she was a crazy woman. Moreover, she was a crazy woman. Moreover, following the cool breeze, felt that Ning Shu had power in the real world. In addition, he could not compete with Ning Shu in the game. It was not like this was the only game. In any case, following the cool breeze did not want to see this crazy woman at all. He took his little girlfriend and directly left. Lost Mimi felt that she could not leave her good friend behind. She brought the dark, ice-clear Lotus by her side. In the real world, Lost Mimi and Ice-Clear Lotus were good friends. However, when the two girls fell in love with the same boy, it was obvious what would happen. Especially when one of them had turned dark. Ning Shu did not train in clear dungeons anymore. Her level was already very high. She spent most of her time learning the code. She wanted to strive for perfection. She wanted to completely master the whole thing so that it would be easier to complete the mission in the future. Who knows, maybe this knowledge would be of great use. Not long after, the Following the Dragon gang also disbanded. Several members of Following the Cool Breeze also left the game. After all, playing the game had the meaning of accompanying the Crown Prince. Now that the Crown Prince was no longer here, there was no meaning in staying. Ning Shu's heart was somewhat unsure whether or not this mission was completed. This was because the original owner wanted to be a qualified and responsible NPC. However, she copied an NPC to replace her. If it was always an NPC, Ning Shu did not feel that the mission would be difficult to complete. Moreover, if the NPC had any abnormalities, it would be very easy to be scanned by the main game system and would be erased. However, the identity of a player was different. Moreover, Ning Shu felt that if the original owner came back to live in the game as a player, she would be able to communicate with others. She would not be confined to one place and could only move around in the area she was responsible for. The game world was very big, she could go anywhere she wanted. However, Ning Shu arbitrarily changed the original owner's wishes. Could the mission be considered completed? Ding, mission completed. Leaving the mission world. The sound of 2333 rang out. Ning Shu's head buzzed for a moment. When she remembered again, she was already in the system space. After staying in the game for so long, Ning Shu was somewhat unable to distinguish between reality and illusion. As usual, Ning Shu did not care about anything and went to sleep first. In a world, no matter how difficult the mission was, there would be many people and many things to do. If one did not organize everything for a long time, all the things would accumulate in one's heart. It would be unbearable. People with mental problems would see things that others could not see. Auditory hallucinations or visual hallucinations would cause them to have an emotional breakdown. Moreover, after experiencing so many worlds. Chapter 377. After a comfortable sleep, Ning Shu woke up. First, he took a watering can and sprinkled some water on the small potted plant. Then, he took a linen cloth and wiped the dust on the bookshelf. Although there was no dust in the system space, Ning Shu still carefully cleaned it. The most regrettable thing was that the soul state couldn't sweat. If he sweated, it would be very refreshing to sweat. After finishing, Ning Shu said, "Let's look at the points this time." Ning Shu's status panel appeared in front of him. Number 23333 Name, Ning Shu, Beginner Task Taker. Age, 27 points, 170,000 30,000 soul, 200 life, 60 wisdom, 80 charm, 3 luck, 34 mental power, 120 martial power, 40 faith, 1 qualifications, 26 merit, 15-20 skills, 5 rings shooting technique, trash fighting technique, absolute martial arts beginner rookie honorary title, war god empress, selfless ancestor aura, mother of the world, queen's blessing, model worker sister, Qinshi's blessing, leader aura, grass blessing, complete NPC's wish, be a dutiful NPC. Let Sui Qingfeng not use her at will. Let Sui Qingfeng not be able to survive in the game. Mission completion progress, 80. Obtained 5 attribute points. Ning Shu saw that the mission progress was only 80. The experience was only 30,000. It could be said that it was the lowest as an official task taker. Moreover, the attribute points were only 5. The last time it was 25 points. Ning Shu pursed his lips. He knew that this mission was considered a failure. People really couldn't be self-righteous. The original owner wanted to be a dutiful NPC, but she let the original owner break away from the identity of an NPC. Ning Shu stood in his position and felt that this was a very good way of life. But for the original owner, it was not necessarily so. The original owner was a programming code born from the game's main system. Breaking away from the identity of an NPC would make her feel at a loss. My honey, the other's arsenic. Fortunately, Ning Shu learned the code. The original owner could return to her NPC identity. Otherwise, this mission would be considered a failure. Generally speaking, the things that Ning Shu learned would be left to the original owner. The original owner would have the skill, and so would Ning Shu. Ning Shu took a deep breath. He felt that he could not be so self-righteous in the future. Even though that was what he thought, Ning Shu still felt a bit disappointed because he hadn't obtained much from this world. 30,000 experience points and 5 attribute points. Ning Shu remained silent for a while. Then, he added all 5 attribute points to wisdom, and the attribute panel changed. Serial number 23333 Name, Ning Shu, Beginner Mission Taker. Age, 27 points, 200,000 soul value, 200 HP, 60 wisdom, 805 charm, 3 luck, 34 spiritual power, 120 combat power, 40 faith, 1 aptitude, 26 merit, 35 skills. 5th ring spear technique, trash fighting technique, peerless martial arts novice. Honorary title, Goddess of War, Selfless Ancestor Aura, Mother of the World, Queen's Blessing, Model Worker, Qinshi's Blessing, Leader's Aura, Grass Blessing. Seeing Ning Shu's disappointment, 23333 said, the original owner's wish is what she wants the most. You don't have to change her wish. I know. I was stupid this time. I took it for granted. Ning Shu nodded. 23333 was silent for a while. Then he comforted Ning Shu, but at that time, it was the best choice. It didn't matter if you lost a few points. The most important thing was still your life. 70 points is the mission standard. Actually, missions are also graded according to their levels. For example, pass, excellent, and perfect. According to the 4 levels, the points and attributes awarded are different. There's such a thing? Ning Shu was stunned. 23333 said, actually, you have a quest that gives you a perfect title. It's a primitive society. So, the points and attributes are higher. But this NPC quest can only be considered pass. Your way of doing things didn't make the original owner very happy, but completing the latter part of the quest can only be considered pass. Ning Shu nodded to show that he understood. Ning Shu opened the exchange shop and browsed through the items available. He wanted to see if there was anything that he could afford and that was more practical. After browsing for a while, Ning Shu found something called the Calm Aura. It was an item that allowed the player to remain calm. Ning Shu was very fond of the aura, but it was very expensive. It cost 150,000 points. Ning Shu had worked so hard to earn 200,000 points. If he bought the Calm Aura, he would be back to square one. Ning Shu pursed his lips. After a painful struggle, he finally bought the Calm Aura. Without his life, points were nothing. Ning Shu clicked on the exchange button. Then he saw his points jump violently. In the end, he only had 50,000 points left. However, with the aura on him, Ning Shu instantly felt his mind clear up. Even his depressed mood dissipated a little. His heart was calm and steady. However, Ning Shu knew that these were all supplementary effects. In the end, he still had to rely on himself to complete the quest. Ning Shu distributed some points and exchanged them for fasting pills, water, medicine, and detoxification pills. After everything was prepared, Ning Shu began to cultivate his soul. Ning Shu had always been cultivating peerless martial arts. First, Ning Shu felt that this thing was not bad. After so long, he had developed feelings for it. He also felt that this secret manual must be very powerful. It must be. Second, Ning Shu did not have enough points to exchange for high-level soul cultivation secret manuals. Secret manuals could easily cost hundreds of thousands or even millions of points. Ning Shu could only look at them. Therefore, the same was true for mission takers. The stronger the person, the more resources they had. The weaker the person, the weaker they became. In the end, they would be eliminated. Ning Shu waited until her soul was full before she stopped cultivating. Her soul was much stronger than when she first entered the system space. When this soul was able to condense into a physical body, it would be much easier to cultivate peerless martial arts. I can do it, Ning Shu thought to himself. He would continue on the path of a mission taker. Then he would become an intermediate mission taker. Then he would become an advanced mission taker. He would travel through countless worlds. Ning Shu's previously depressed heart was now boiling with blood. Ahead of him was a new journey. Our goal is the Sea of Stars. 2333 system, sir. Enter the mission world. Ning Shu said 2333. 2333 saw that Ning Shu had swept away his dispirited appearance. His tone also relaxed a little. Good luck, Ning Shu. Ning Shu felt his mind go blank. When he could feel again, he found himself lying on a wooden bed. Around him were antique furniture and decorations. Ning Shu knew that this mission should be set in ancient times. He just did not know what the original owner's wish was. Chapter 378. Ning Shu looked around and found that the things around him were very exquisite. The host was wearing a satin coat with a floral pattern. The stitches were so fine that there was no hair at all. It seemed that the host was either rich or noble. Ning Shu closed his eyes and began to end the plot. The host was called Wei Lingxian. She was the wife of An Yu, the first-rank general of Jinwei. They had a son and a daughter. They respected their mother-in-law and treated the servants well. They loved each other very much and didn't have a concubine in the backyard. There was a civil riot in Yunzhou. An Yu, the general of Jinwei, was ordered to rebel in Yunzhou. Yunzhou was the fief of the emperor's half-brother. After the emperor got the news, he hurriedly asked An Yu to suppress the rebels. An Yu hurried to Yunzhou and found that the whole family of the king of Yen had died in the battle. On his way back, An Yu met the orphans of the king of Yen. One of them was the daughter of the king of Yen, Princess Mingzhu, and the other was the youngest son of the king of Yen. In order to protect his only son, King of Yen ordered his beloved daughter, Princess Mingzhu, to protect his son and escape from the mansion that was about to be attacked by the rebels. Princess Mingzhu would lose her family overnight. If it weren't for her father's wish, she would have left with them. She disguised herself with her maid and encountered bandits. She was in great danger and was saved by An Yu. An Yu appeared in front of Princess Mingzhu like a god. He made Princess Mingzhu, who had lost everything, feel safe and warm. When she was desperate, An Yu saw a glimmer of hope. Like a god, An Yu gave Princess Mingzhu a new life and made her feel warm again. An Yu thought that he was responsible for protecting King of Yan's orphans since he failed to save them, so he escorted them all the way to the capital. An Yu often comforted Princess Mingzhu when he saw that she was in pain because of the loss of her family. Princess Mingzhu was the same age as his daughter. She comforted her patiently when she saw this 16-year-old girl suffer such a thing. An Yu's care and love made Princess Mingzhu fall in love with him. She had feelings for An Yu, but she had to suppress her feelings because of her status. When they arrived in the capital, An Yu took Princess Mingzhu and the little prince to the general's mansion. An Yu felt responsible for Princess Mingzhu. The general's mansion welcomed Princess Mingzhu very much. An Yu even specially built a courtyard for Princess Mingzhu so that she could live alone. He said that he must let Princess Mingzhu feel the warmth of home. Princess Mingzhu and An Lingyun, who was of the same age, became good friends. Everyone in the general's mansion liked this weak but strong girl who shouldered the responsibility of revitalizing King Yan's mansion. Wei Lingxian's son, An Yu, was 17 years old. He was in love with Princess Mingzhu, who was as gentle as water. Under the encouragement of his sister, An Lingyun, he confessed to Princess Mingzhu. However, Princess Mingzhu loved An Yu's father, An Yu. Wei Lingxian found out about the relationship between her husband and Princess Mingzhu. She was dissatisfied with Princess Mingzhu and even did some things to stop An Yu and Princess Mingzhu from getting together. She went to the palace to persuade the Empress Dowager to give Princess Mingzhu a marriage. The Empress Dowager arranged a good marriage for Princess Mingzhu, who was from a noble family in the capital. But when Princess Mingzhu heard the news, she almost collapsed. She knelt in front of the Empress Dowager and begged her to withdraw the engagement. She also told the Empress Dowager that she liked An Yu and that she could only marry An Yu in this life. The Empress Dowager was shocked and angry. Princess Mingzhu was going to be a concubine, and she was going to marry a man who was about the same age as her father. It would damage the social order of the imperial court. The Empress Dowager naturally wouldn't allow it. However, Princess Mingzhu said that she and An Yu were in love with each other. It was true love. True love was not wrong. Princess Mingzhu knelt in front of Wei Lingxian and confessed that she loved An Yu. She would rather be a concubine and stay with An Yu like a cat or a dog. She only begged Wei Lingxian to forgive her. Wei Lingxian trembled with anger. An Yu, who loved Princess Mingzhu, didn't agree. The Empress Dowager didn't dare to let a princess be a concubine. An Lingyun blamed her good friend for letting her brother down and stealing her father. When An Yu saw that everyone disapproved of his relationship with Princess Mingzhu and everyone was in pain because of it, he volunteered to go to war with a sorrowful heart. Princess Mingzhu secretly ran out of the capital and went to the battlefield alone to find Enyu. Because of love, Enyu was depressed. Enyu, who lost the battle, decided to kill himself. At this time, Princess Mingzhu appeared in front of Enyu. When they saw each other, they felt as if they had been separated for a lifetime. They couldn't contain their feelings anymore and decided not to be separated again. They survived together, but what greeted them was still overwhelming opposition. Princess Mingzhu became the target of public criticism. Princess Mingzhu didn't care about her status and felt wronged. She only hoped to resolve the knot in people's hearts with sincerity. In the end, she moved the Empress Dowager, who was the most opposed. Princess Mingzhu became Enyu's concubine. Everyone was shocked by her bravery and fearlessness. Even the Empress Dowager supported her. Wei Lingxian humiliated and embarrassed Princess Mingzhu in all kinds of ways. This woman, who had lost almost everything, tortured Princess Mingzhu even more. Princess Mingzhu silently endured it, hoping to move Wei Lingxian with her true feelings. Enyu, who liked Princess Mingzhu, was disheartened and got married in a fit of anger. He ignored his newly married wife and went to the battlefield. Enyu knew his son's thoughts. In order to protect his son, he went to the battlefield with Princess Mingzhu. In the chaos, he was unfortunately shot and died in order to save Enyu. Enyu forgave his father. When Princess Mingzhu saw that Enyu was dead, she wanted to die in the same year, month, and day with him. She entrusted her younger brother, the crown prince, to Enyu and committed suicide. After Princess Mingzhu's death, the Empress Dowager found out about it. She thought that Princess Mingzhu was loyal and devoted, so she buried Princess Mingzhu with Enyu in the same grave. Wei Lingxian, the legal wife, was very embarrassed. Princess Mingzhu, who went to the battlefield and had her whole family died, had an illicit relationship with a man during her filial period. After her death, she was known as a loyal, brave, and strong woman. It put a hypocritical hat on this beautiful love story that had no regard for human relations. An old man and a simple and beautiful woman hurt everyone's love. Wei Lingxian's husband didn't love her, and her children were unfilial. She was known as a jealous woman. After her death, she couldn't be buried with her husband because he already had another woman. Even though the two of them were dead, Wei Lingxian still felt like a joke. She lived in misery. She was a woman who had nothing. How enviable Wei Lingxian was in the past was how pitiful she was now. His daughter and son both sided with the concubine. Even his son's daughter-in-law, who had just married his son, helped Princess Mingzhu and asked her not to be so cruel to Mingzhu. Ning Shu was speechless. Well, this story can be summarized as follows. I was kind enough to take in my daughter's lonely and helpless best friend, but my daughter's best friend stole my man and seduced my son's heart, causing my family to be ruined and everyone to die. Chapter 379. This was a story of a hero saving a damsel in distress. Enyu was a hero to Princess Mingzhu. She would give herself to him for saving her life. Ning Shu thought, haha, Princess Mingzhu had a noble status, but she knelt down to others. She should live in the palace, but she chose to live in the home of an official. She put the burden of revitalizing King Yan's residence on the shoulders of a 7-year-old child, but she loved him all day long. There were also servants who didn't care about status. He had a premonition that true love was about to hit him. But when Ning Shu saw the original owner's wish, he was stunned. Because the original owner's wish was like this. Wei Lingxian's wish. There was no content at all. You have no requirements. How am I supposed to help you? 2333, what's wrong? Ning Shu asked 2333, what's with Wei Lingxian's wish? 2333 said, the original owner didn't even know what she should wish for. Her resentment couldn't be alleviated. She was filial to her mother-in-law and worked hard at home. She let Enyu, who was fighting outside, have nothing to worry about, not to mention the 2 children. But she had nothing left. No matter how good she was to her mother-in-law, she only had her son and grandson in her heart. In the end, she agreed to let Princess Mingzhu become a concubine. Not to mention her husband, who was in love with her for more than 10 years, almost 20 years. He didn't even have a concubine. I've lost everyone. What kind of wish can I have? There's nothing sadder than a dead heart. 2333 said, this is an intermediate task. The person who asked for it doesn't have any specific requirements. It's the most difficult task. Ning Shu was speechless. Damn it. She had no regrets for love. She was crazy for love. She didn't even recognize her own family when she was in love. This task was really annoying. Ning Shu scratched his head. There were some strands of hair on his hand. Every time Yu went to war, the original owner would wait for him to come back uneasily. She was afraid that something would happen to Yu on the battlefield. She had to pretend to be calm and take care of the general's residence. Ning Shu got up from the bed and looked in the bronze mirror. Wei Lingxian looked graceful and elegant. She was a dignified woman who knew when to advance and retreat. She was someone who could take care of her family well. In a feudal society, she was a woman who was qualified to be the matron of a clan. Previously, when Yu refused to take in a concubine because of Wei Lingxian, all the noble ladies in the capital were extremely envious. Wei Lingxian also said that she wanted Yu to take in a few concubines, but Yu refused all of them, and Yu, a mighty general, was actually called henpecked, but Wei Lingxian felt sweet inside. She just didn't think that Yu would be so crazy as to fall in love with a woman who was the same age as her daughter. What was Wei Lingxian? Humans were different from animals. Humans had constraints and morals, responsibilities and morals. They relied on their biological instincts to do whatever they wanted. They were beasts. With a creak, the carved door opened, interrupting Ning Shu's thoughts. A delicate and pretty maidservant entered. She was about 17 or 18 years old. She looked very mature between her eyebrows, and her footsteps were light and unhurried. Seeing Ning Shu sitting in front of the bronze mirror, Zhu walked over with a smile. Madam, you're up. Ning Shu nodded and said, help me wash up. Zhu helped Ning Shu wash up. She skillfully combed Ning Shu's hair and said, Madam, you took a long nap this afternoon. It's time for dinner now. Old Madam told me to wake you up. Ning Shu made a sound of acknowledgement and stood up. Zhu pulled down the fallen hair from the ivory comb and twisted it together, not wanting Ning Shu to see. Am I getting old again? Strictly speaking, Wei Lingxian was now a middle-aged woman. After all, her son was already 17 years old. Zhu smiled and said, in Zhu's heart, Madam will always be the most beautiful. Ning Shu shook his head. A beautiful figure floated in like a butterfly. Mother! And Lingyun reached out and held Ning Shu's hand. Grandmother asked me to come and see what's wrong with you today. Mother, are you okay? Ning Shu looked at Lingyun. She was pretty and cute. When Princess Mingzhu entered the general's manor, they became good friends. When her mother was sad, Lingyun ran to Princess Mingzhu's courtyard. Even if she didn't comfort her mother, she shouldn't have gone to the courtyard that made her mother's heart ache. Everyone said that daughters were considerate, but in the end, everyone was moved by Princess Mingzhu's sincerity and blamed the original owner of this body for being vicious and jealous. And Lingyun noticed that Ning Shu was staring at her. His eyes were scrutinizing and indifferent. She shook Ning Shu's arm uneasily and asked, Mother, what's wrong? A smile appeared on Ning Shu's face. She was elegant and magnanimous as she said, Mother is thinking about it again. Lingyun is already a big girl and should have a husband's family. Mother is thinking about what kind of husband's family to find for you. And Lingyun was a naive girl. She grew up in a harmonious family. She didn't realize that Princess Mingzhu had become her father's concubine and hurt her mother. It was not just a matter of adding a pair of chopsticks. Therefore, naive and innocent people hurt people the most. And Lingyun was like this, and so was Princess Mingzhu. When Lingyun heard that Ning Shu wanted to find a husband for her, she was a little shy. However, she said in a natural and unrestrained manner, Lingyun wants to find a man like father, indomitable and indomitable, like father to mother, wholeheartedly devoted. Hearing this, Ning Shu didn't say anything. His body was filled with sadness and numbness. There was also fear. He feared the arrival of Princess Mingzhu, who was about to destroy everything. Even Ningshu was affected by the sadness, hesitation, hatred, and pain that surged out of his body. Ever since his soul became stronger, he was rarely affected by the original owner's plot. But now, these emotions were overwhelming. His heart was in sharp pain. The pain made Ningshu's body bend. He couldn't help but cover his chest. It felt like there were countless needles pricking his heart. The pain made the veins on Ningshu's forehead bulge. The blood in his body was cold. So cold. Ningshu staggered. And Lingyun supported Ningshu. Seeing her mother's pale face and cold sweat, she anxiously said, "Mother, are you okay?" Zhu also came over to support Ningshu. Ningshu said weakly, "Help me sit on the bed." And Lingyun and Zhu helped Ningshu sit on the bed. Ningshu covered his chest and took deep breaths to calm his emotions. A cool feeling flowed into his heart, calming the pain and anxiety in his heart. Ningshu knew that this was the effect of the calm aura that she had spent 150,000 points on. The original owner of the body had spent day after day with these emotions. How painful it must have been. Chapter 380. This strong emotion slowly faded away, but Ningshu didn't have any strength left in his body. His entire body was covered in cold sweat. Ningshu was still thinking about practicing the peerless martial arts so that this body would be even more powerful. "Mother, are you all right?" And Lingyun looked at Ningshu with a face full of worry and concern. She had never seen her mother like this before. And Lingyun's heart was still very flustered when her pillar of support mother suddenly became like this. Ningshu used a silk handkerchief to wipe the cold sweat on his face and said, "I'm fine. I'll rest for a bit. You and grandmother can eat dinner first. Go, mother wants to rest." In the end, Lingyun left first, occasionally turning back to look at Ningshu. Zhu squeezed out a handkerchief for Ningshu and helped Ningshu wipe his face. Ningshu asked, "Madam, do you want me to call a doctor to take a look?" This servant sees that Madam's complexion doesn't look too good. Ningshu shook his head. His heart was still faintly aching. After a while, the sound of footsteps could be heard from outside the room. Following that, a large group of people walked in. Walking at the front was an old woman holding a mahogany cane. She wore dark red clothes and a black embroidered headband on her head. In the middle of the headband was an emerald. She looked like a dignified and wealthy old woman. The one supporting the old woman was Lingyun. Beside her was the tall and delicate Enyu. Enyu and Lingyun. Ningshu shouted, "Mother! Mother, grandmother has come to see you," and Lingyun said to Ningshu. Ningshu saw that Madame Shun had come over. He held onto Zhu's hand and struggled to stand up. The old woman walked over with her cane and pressed down on Ningshu. She said, "Don't get up. Your complexion doesn't look too good. Have you been working too hard recently?" Ningshu took advantage of the situation to sit down. His expression was very respectful. His eyebrows were tinged with exhaustion as he said, "Many thanks for mother's concern. Your daughter-in-law does feel a bit tired." The old woman sat on a stool beside the bed and said, "I know you're worried about Enyu. It's fine. This old woman isn't worried, so you don't have to worry. Enyu is a person with good fortune." Ningshu was speechless. "I'm afraid you'll be sending your child off." Ningshu could only force out a smile and beckon to Lingyun. Lingyun walked in front of Ningshu. Ningshu held Lingyun's hand and turned his head to speak to Chinshi. "Mother, daughter-in-law's health hasn't been very good recently. Lingyun is not young anymore and should be betrothed to someone else after the new year. Lingyun should learn how to manage a household. Can I trouble Granny to teach Lingyun?" Ningshu was panting heavily as he spoke. His face was sallow, and his forehead was dripping with sweat. He looked especially haggard. Lingyun and Enyu felt uneasy in their hearts. "Mother, rest well. Little sister and I will definitely be fine." Enyu hurriedly said. Ningshu looked at Enyu and his pupils shrank. Under Lingyun's instigation, he confessed to Princess Mingzhu, but was rejected by Princess Mingyue. The original owner of the body called Enyu in front of him and told her not to think about having any entanglements with Mingzhu. Mingzhu was a princess of the imperial family and they were not worthy of her. And Yu was originally rejected by the woman who was as gentle as water, and then Wei Lingxian said this. Moreover, her own mother went to the palace to persuade the Empress Dowager to bestow a marriage to Princess Mingzhu. She actually hated the original owner of the body for obstructing her. To be hated by her own child, wasn't this cutting into Wei Lingxian's flesh? Ning Shu only smiled in the face of An Yu's concern and looked at Chen Shi. Chen Shi put her hands on her walking stick and nodded. All right, you rest well. I'll teach Ling Yun how to manage a household for the time being. Ning Shu struggled to get up. He opened the cabinet and placed the account book and the storehouse key on the table, saying, I'll have to trouble Granny. Chen Shi made a sound of acknowledgement and had Ling Yun take the account book and the key. Chen Shi stood up and the maidservant next to her immediately supported her. Chen Shi comforted Ning Shu with a few words and told him to rest well. She said that An Yu was fine and that he shouldn't fall ill. Ning Shu only nodded. He was respectful and filial towards Chen Shi. And Ling Yun held the account book and said to Ning Shu, Mother, I'll bring you some food. Ning Shu smiled, all right. When the group left the room, Ning Shu had Zhu close the door. I'll sleep first. No one is to disturb me. Zhu nodded and closed the door. She stood guard at the door. Ning Shu sat cross-legged on the bed. The original owner of the body took care of the entire general's household in an orderly manner. All the expenses and income were recorded. Every sum was given to Chen Shi for review. If there were any large expenses, Chen Shi would ask for instructions. Rather than saying that Wei Lingxian managed the general's household, it was better to say that the true authority of the household was in Chen Shi's hands. In Chen Shi's eyes, Wei Lingxian, this daughter-in-law, was transparent. Wei Lingxian had almost no selfish motives for the family. She attentively served and took care of her mother-in-law. Chen Shi was very satisfied with Wei Lingxian as a daughter-in-law. She didn't say anything when her son didn't take a concubine. Wei Lingxian respected and loved Chen Shi even more. And you often went to war. Wei Lingxian spent more time with her mother-in-law than her husband. They were family. But when it came to her son, Chen Shi gave up on Wei Lingxian. In fact, this was something that didn't need to be considered. Ning Shu didn't have the patience to tire himself out every day for the general's household. Everyone else was enjoying themselves. Everything was orderly. When they were hungry, they had food to eat. When they were thirsty, they had warm water. Every day, their clothes were clean and fragrant. This kind of environment was painstakingly created by the original owner of the body. In the end, these people all accused her of being vicious and crazy. When one was full and warm, one would think of lust. Everything could be solved by oneself. Ning Shu began to cultivate the ultimate martial arts, but he didn't achieve anything. However, with the calm halo, Ning Shu was less affected by the original owner's emotions. The original owner's resentment and sadness were very strong. Ning Shu could only sigh. When a person's heart wasn't with them, everything they did would be in vain. Ning Shu really didn't have a clue about this mission. Take revenge on An Yu, Princess Mingzhu, and all the people who hurt Wei Lingxian? But the people who hurt Wei Lingxian were the people she loved the most. But if he didn't do anything, how was he going to complete this mission? Ning Shu realized that even if he became Wei Lingxian, he might not be able to do a better job than Wei Lingxian. No matter what he did, he had to deal with Princess Mingyu, this pure, beautiful, and true woman. Princess Mingyu was the prince's daughter and the emperor's niece. In this feudal society where the emperor's orders were greater than heaven, to deal with a princess of such high status, not only did he have to maintain his reputation as a virtuous person, but he also had to punish Princess Mingyu. It was a little difficult. The original owner of the body was a virtuous woman who supported the family. However, because of the incident with Princess Mingzhu, she was labeled as a vicious, jealous, tormented, and humiliated Princess Mingzhu. Princess Mingzhu's tolerance and kindness earned her the pity of everyone in the general's household. Ning Shu. He felt that this mission was really a pain in the ass. He had no direction at all. Moreover, Ning Shu couldn't tell what the original owner's attitude towards An Yu was. Was it hate, love, or a mixture of love and hate? There was no hint. Chapter 381. Ning Shu began his life of recuperation. Old Madame Fu called a doctor to see Ning Shu. The doctor took his pulse and said that his heart was damaged, and he was overthinking. To put it bluntly, he was thinking too much. When old Madame Fu came to see Ning Shu said to old Madame Fu, "Mother, I don't know why, but I have a bad feeling this time. I didn't have it before. Mother, is there something wrong within you?" Madame Chen slammed her walking stick on the ground and said, "What can happen? And you hasn't encountered any major problems. This is just a civil disturbance. A group of rioters took advantage of the opportunity to cause trouble. What can happen?" Ning Shu saw that old Madame Fu was a bit haggard. He guessed that it was because she had to manage the backyard of the general's mansion and teach Lingyun how to manage the household. Hearing old Madame Fu's lecture, Ning Shu immediately said, "Yes, mother. Daughter-in-law is thinking too much." Old Madame Fu looked at Ning Shu's yellow face and sickly appearance. She really couldn't let her manage the backyard. And Lingyun, who was forced by old Madame Fu to learn how to manage the backyard, was simply flustered. She ran to Ning Shu and cried to Ning Shu, "Mother, get better quickly. I really can't do it." Ning Shu stretched out her hand and touched Lingyun's head. She said with a smile, "You are my daughter. If mother can do it, you can also do it. When mother first learned, I was also like this. I was reprimanded by your grandmother until I cried. Don't you see that mother is doing well now?" What kind of thoughts did she have to say that her mother was vicious? The original owner was crazy, but it wasn't because of you two? Ning Shu didn't have any feelings for the two children. They were completely ungrateful. Fortunately, they were born and raised. Without the company of a husband, they had to serve their mother-in-law and take care of their two children. In the end, they couldn't resist Princess Mingzhu's two sentences. Was Mingzhu beautiful and pure, or did she feel that the original owner's crazy appearance made them feel ashamed? Crows even know how to reciprocate, and Lingyun looked pitiful and her eyes were filled with tears. However, Ning Shu's eyes were indifferent. He had a loving and teasing expression on his face. "Lingyun is a big girl now. You can't cry. Although it's tough now, it's better than going to your in-laws to suffer." And Lingyun pouted and arched her body in Ning Shu's embrace. She said coquettishly, "Mother, I want to always be with you." Ning Shu smiled. How can a girl stay at home all the time? And Lingyun saw that Ning Shu had no intention of relenting, so she could only continue to learn how to manage a household. It was just that she was still young, so she was flustered. This caused the servants of the general's residence to become impatient as well. In the past, they all knew what they should do, but when Lingyun took over and faced the huge general's residence, they were completely dumbfounded. Chen Shi was already quite old, and seeing Lingyun so busy, she could only focus on managing. This caused Chen Shi's mental state to not be as good as before. Even Yu came to complain to Ning Shu. She said that her clothes were sent over before they were ironed. Sometimes she didn't even get to drink water. Ning Shu looked at this child. He had handsome eyebrows and looked like Yu. There was a hint of immaturity between his eyebrows. In ancient times, a 17-year-old boy should be able to take responsibility. However, Yu had nothing to do. Every day, she calmly practiced martial arts. His confession was rejected by Princess Mingzhu. When he was depressed, he made bad friends and got addicted to gambling. Later, he even stole the original owner's money to gamble. Another spoiled child. Faced with Yu's complaints, Ning Shu only said, "Your younger sister is the one managing the household. There are some things that she doesn't do well. You have to be more tolerant." "Mother, are you feeling better?" Yu asked Ning Shu. Ning Shu said, "Mother is fine. You don't have to worry." Ning Shu looked at Yu's back. Each and every one of them was soaking in a honey pot. "This old lady should serve you all." "Nonsense." Yu walked in with a face full of joy. Ning Shu said, "Madam, the general has returned in triumph." Ning Shu's face lit up with joy. He quickly said, "Help me dress." Yu responded and busily helped Ning Shu dress, wash and dress. When they arrived at the entrance of the general's estate, the matriarch was already waiting for them. Her face was full of joy. When she saw Ning Shu, her expression became better. She said, "See, I told you that nothing would happen to you." Ning Shu let out a long sigh of relief. In a light tone he said, "It's good that you're back. It's good that you're back." Mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, the two children, and the servants of the general's estate were waiting at the entrance. Ning Shu looked in the direction of the palace. And you and Princess Mingzhu were probably in the palace. The Empress Dowager felt sorry for the siblings and arranged for them to stay. Along the way, and you saw the weak and helpless Princess Mingyue and felt that it was his duty to take care of her. He begged the Empress Dowager to let the princess and the crown prince stay in the general's estate temporarily. Ning Shu wanted to vomit blood. What kind of plot was this? How could the Empress Dowager let an unmarried princess stay in the home of a minister? Moreover, she was still in her filial piety. Was it to make it easier for An Yu and Princess Mingzhu to hook up? On the way from Yunzhou to the capital, the two of them rode on the same horse. An Yu was very confident because he treated Princess Mingzhu like a father and daughter. Ning Shu chuckled at this. Men and women should not be so close. They hugged and hugged each other along the way. Princess Mingzhu often looked at this man who was old enough to be her father. This plot made Ning Shu want to vomit. This was the plot of an ode to a mistress. Don't talk about men in ancient times having multiple wives. And you promised the original Wei Lingxian that he would only have one wife. He said that he would be satisfied with having a wife like Wei Lingxian in this life. He thought that this was a commitment between the two of them. However, one day, Princess Mingzhu appeared. This Princess Mingzhu was a mistress. Princess Mingzhu's arrival caused a huge uproar in the general's mansion. She and An Yu could not help but love each other and hurt everyone. And you thought that the best result was that he did not divorce Wei Lingxian and married Princess Mingzhu. However, it was harmful to both women. Soon he would be able to see Princess Mingzhu, who was the epitome of beauty. Ning Shu smiled and looked at the dark clouds accumulating in the sky. It seemed that it was going to rain. At this moment, Ning Shu's mood was just like the dark clouds. The sound of horse hooves could be heard not far away. Everyone was shocked. Ning Shu looked over and was shocked. Because he saw that An Yu and Princess Mingzhu were riding on the same horse. In broad daylight, it was not a big deal in Yunzhou. However, in the capital, Ning Shu could not figure out why the two of them were so calm. Did the powerful plot erase other things? This was an ancient time with strict rules. All the plot was focused on the general's mansion. Was everything else blurred? An Yu and An Lingyun did not care about the woman in their father's arms. When the old madam saw this, she glanced at Ning Shu and gave Ning Shu a look of affirmation. She was comforting Ning Shu. Ning Shu felt that the old madam was the most powerful person in the general's mansion. Her husband died young, so her son, An Yu, brought glory to the family and made her daughter-in-law be respectful and filial to her. The look in her eyes just now was very touching. He felt that his mother-in-law was on his side. Chapter 382. An Yu and the others arrived at the gate. An Yu got off the horse first and then helped Princess Mingzhu off the horse. They did not avoid physical contact. "Mother!" An Yu greeted the old lady first. The old lady nodded repeatedly and said, "It's good that you're back." Ning Shu looked at An Yu with a smile. An Yu was a handsome man with the charm of a mature man. His military uniform gave people a sense of security. "Lingxian." An Yu looked gentle and reached out to grab Ning Shu's hand. The smile on Ning Shu's face froze and his hair stood on end. "Thank you for taking care of our family." An Yu grabbed Ning Shu's hand. "Father, Mother missed you so much that she got sick. She recovered as soon as you came back," An Lingyun said coquettishly. Looking at his daughter, An Yu thought of Princess Mingzhu again. He explained to everyone, "This is Princess Mingzhu, King Yan's daughter. Next to her is the young heir." Hearing this, everyone hurriedly knelt down to salute. Princess Mingzhu hurriedly said, "You don't have to be so polite. When I see you, I'm very envious and yearning. I want to integrate into this family." Ning Shu was speechless. The old lady's face changed. She had thought that Princess Mingzhu was an ordinary woman in the civil unrest, but she did not expect that she was a princess of the royal family. Moreover, she was riding on the same horse with her son. Princess Mingzhu will live in the general's mansion for the time being. And you said to everyone. Then he turned to Princess Mingzhu and said, you can treat the general's mansion as your home in the future. Seeing that her father treated Princess Mingzhu so well, and Ling Yun stamped her feet and said, Father, you don't love me anymore. You like this princess. Ning Shu scolded and Ling Yun, don't be rude to the princess. It's okay. Princess Mingzhu hurriedly said, I envy you. When I see you, I think of my family in Yunzhou. They are no longer alive. And Ling Yun immediately showed a sympathetic expression and said, it's okay. I'll be your good friend from now on. Princess Mingzhu nodded and smiled. She was very touched. She looked at An Yu, who was looking at her with a smile. Ning Shu looked at Princess Mingzhu. She was elegant, poetic, gentle, beautiful, weak, strong, brave, and strong. It was as if he wanted to give her all the good things, but it couldn't cover up what she had done. A group of people courteously welcomed Princess Mingzhu into the general's mansion. Ning Shu saw that An Yu had been comforting Princess Mingzhu the entire time. Even Ling Yun and An Yu were surrounding her. Ning Shu just watched. Seeing the old lady frowning, he smiled faintly. There were some things that she couldn't bear alone. An Yu opened a separate courtyard for Princess Mingzhu and added a lot of good things to the courtyard in order to make Princess Mingzhu feel the warmth of home. An Yu found Ning Shu and asked him to draw some money from his account to make the courtyard more comfortable. After all, Princess Mingzhu was a princess of the royal family. Ning Shu almost rolled her eyes. She deeply felt that there was something wrong with An Yu's head. He actually brought back an ancestor and made his family unhappy. What a childish act. Why did An Yu feel that he was duty-bound to help Princess Mingzhu? Since she was a princess of the royal family, she should stay in the imperial palace instead of living in the houses of her officials. Maybe Princess Mingzhu really didn't know these things. In Yunzhou, Prince Yan was the king, and Princess Mingzhu lived like a princess. No one asked her. Her life was simple and beautiful. After such a family accident, Princess Mingzhu still chose to be simple. She was a pure white lotus, so pure that she didn't know anything about the world and didn't know shame. Ning Shu smiled very virtuously and said to An Yu, now Ling Yun is in charge of the house. If you have anything to say, tell her. I thought that Ling Yun is not young anymore, so I let her manage the house. An Yu nodded and turned to find Ling Yun. Then Ling Yun generously gave Princess Mingzhu a large sum of money and even went out to buy things with her. She told Princess Mingzhu not to be polite. Ning Shu just smiled faintly when she knew these things. She was so calm as if she was watching a play. The old lady's face darkened, but she couldn't say anything. Didn't she give the money? What if the reputation of treating a princess of the royal family was ruined? What if the Empress Dowager in the imperial palace was dissatisfied? Not everyone was like Princess Mingzhu, who didn't care about worldly opinions. Her son invited the great Buddha back, but she had to kneel down and worship him with tears in her eyes. It was ironic that a princess of the royal family had to be supported by the general's mansion. Moreover, the emperor and the Empress Dowager didn't give any compensation to the general's mansion. They didn't hold a funeral for Prince Yan, and his coffin wasn't brought back to the capital. These things had been forgotten. Princess Mingzhu didn't even burn any paper for her father and the clansmen of Yunzhou. All of them were full of love. A princess of the royal family cried and wanted to be an old man's concubine. After a busy day, Qin Haodong finally made Princess Mingzhu's small courtyard more presentable. Ning Shu called in Ling Yun, who had gone out to play all day, to the front. Looking at his beautiful daughter, who was as beautiful as a butterfly, he felt cold in his heart. Mother, what can I do for you? And Ling Yun asked Ning Shu. Ning Shu told Ling Yun, make a vegetarian meal for dinner. Princess Mingzhu has just lost her family, so she needs to observe mourning for her family. Ling Yun, you are a big girl now. There are some things you should know. The ancients valued filial piety, and filial piety was the most important of all virtues. Filial piety was a measure of a person's character. A strict family would even abstain from sexual intercourse. If a child was born during the mourning period, it would even be a stain on the official's record. From this point of view, Princess Mingzhu was actually a heartless person. If she slept with a man during the mourning period, would the Prince of Yen be angry? However, Princess Mingzhu, who was ignorant of worldly affairs, wouldn't know these things. This was a world of romance. These were all trivial things, so there was no need to pay attention to them. If you have nothing to do, ask your grandmother more. Your grandmother is a great woman, Ning Shu said indifferently. And Ling Yu nodded and went to arrange it. At dinner time, old Madame Shun looked at the vegetarian dishes on the table. Ning Shu asked, "Today is not the 15th day of the month. Why are we eating vegetarian food?" Old Madame Shun believed in Buddhism. Every 15th day of the month, she would eat vegetarian food for a day. She prayed that An Yu, who often went to war, would be safe. She also prayed for An Yu, whose hands were stained with blood, to atone for his sins. Old Madame Shun felt very uncomfortable that she had broken the old Madame's rules so rashly. Ning Shu said, "Mother, Princess Mingzhu is in mourning. It is not suitable for her to eat as much as we do." At this time, Princess Mingzhu walked in with the little heir. When she heard Ning Shu's words, she was very touched and said, "Thank you for thinking about me, madam, but I want to integrate into this big family. You don't have to worry about me." Ning Shu, Ning Shu clearly saw the matriarch's face darken. Chen Shi looked at the delicate and pitiful, fresh and refined Zhu Mingzhu. Her heart felt very uncomfortable. A person who was in her mourning period was living in someone else's home. Chapter 383. Given Princess Mingzhu's status, it was not appropriate for her to live in the general's house. Not only was there a distinction between the ruler and the minister, but there was also the distinction between men and women. She was also an unmarried daughter. She had prepared vegetarian food for her sake so that she could fulfill her filial piety. How could she say that there was no need to care about her? Old Mrs. Shin's face was trembling, and she was so disgusted that she wanted to die. "Princess, don't you like the food I prepared for you?" And Ling Yun felt wronged. She had prepared the food especially for Princess Mingzhu, whose family had already passed away. Princess Mingzhu quickly explained. She was both moved and anxious. "It's not like that. Ling Yun, do you know how touched I am? But I want to be like you. I don't want to be special. Gij doesn't want me here. I want to be part of your family. Your family is so warm, with a kind grandmother, a strong father, and a noble and dignified mother." And Ling Yun forgave Princess Mingzhu immediately. And Yu, who was beside her, said, "Don't worry. Stay with us. We will take good care of you." And Yu, who was dressed in light blue, walked in and said, "Everyone, you don't have to worry about Princess Mingzhu. Treat her as a family. Don't exclude her. Don't give her any special care. Let her feel the warmth of a family." General. Princess Mingzhu looked at An Yu with infatuation. Her eyes were full of affection. But when she saw the dignified and virtuous wife of the general, she began to feel sorry for herself. He already had a wife, a dignified and noble wife. But she still longed for the warmth of his body. She wanted to absorb his warmth. God, please let her feel more of the general's warmth. God, please forgive her greed. Hearing her son's words, the old madam frowned so hard that her eyebrows could be pinched to death. Ning Shu laughed in his heart. And you looked old, but he was still a childish man. Without the guidance of his father, there were no more responsibilities on his shoulders. His mother was tolerant, and his wife gave in to him. And you was not influenced by the world. In essence, he was the same as Princess Mingzhu. How could he fight a battle with the intention of avoiding his feelings? How could he fight a battle with a calm heart, ignoring the piles of bones of the soldiers behind him? He, who was invincible, had lost the battle. He was ashamed and tortured by his feelings, so he wanted to commit suicide. However, Princess Mingzhu came, so they decided to live. Then she ran back and said that she wanted to be with him. Ning Shu only wanted to ask, "Where is your face? Why is your face so thick?" And you was a man who was shameless as an old man, unrighteous as a husband, disrespectful as a father, unfilial as a son, and unwise as a minister. He was a man who looked like a genius on the outside but was rotten on the inside. Usually, it was not obvious, but when something happened, his character would be exposed incisively and vividly. For example, when it came to Princess Mingzhu, he was completely brainless. Ningxu said, "The princess has a noble status. How can she be the same as us? It's the same. Why would it be different? I want to be friends with everyone. We are all equal," Princess Mingzhu said firmly. Ningxu was speechless. And you looked at Princess Mingzhu with brighter eyes, while Lingyun looked at her with admiration. Ningxu narrowed his eyes and looked at his children. He had to do something. Everyone sat down, and the atmosphere was rather strange. The old madam, Qinshi, had a long face, but Yu did not feel it. He smiled as he watched his children chatter with Zhu Mingzhu. Ningxu saw that Madame Shen's hands were trembling as she held the chopsticks tightly. Obviously, she was trying her best to restrain herself. Ningxu looked around and saw the little heir sitting next to Princess Mingzhu. The little heir was thin and looked tired. He looked weak when he was eating. He had not said a word since he entered the general's mansion. But Princess Mingzhu did not see it. She only had love in her heart. Love, she told the little heir to rebuild King Yan's mansion every day, but she did not expect that her behavior would completely ruin the little heir's future. She slept with a man during the mourning period and went to the battlefield. She was the princess of the royal family, but she insisted on being the concubine. With a sister like this, the little heir would face all kinds of colored eyes. This shame would be branded on him for the rest of his life. "Oh, your great love." Ningxu ate very little. After the meal, they went back to their own courtyards. Princess Mingzhu looked at Yu in a daze. Seeing her like this, Yu's heart moved as if something had broken. With extreme joy and strong uneasiness, he said in a dry voice, "Princess, have a good rest." Hearing this, Princess Mingzhu felt as if she had received the whole world. She held the little heir's hand and went to her own courtyard. Perhaps Yu had really regarded Princess Mingzhu as his daughter before. But having such a beautiful woman who loved him, compared to the dignified Wei Lingxian, Princess Mingzhu's naivety brought a different excitement to him. Yu followed Ningxu to Ningxu's courtyard. Seeing that Yu seemed to want to sleep with him, Ningxu became a Spartan. Neither Yu nor Ningxu spoke. For a moment, the atmosphere was a little awkward. Ningxu said, "My husband must be tired. Rest early." Yu didn't seem to have the intention to roll around in bed either. He lay down with Ningxu. Ningxu breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he did not need to sleep with her. This was someone else's husband, not hers. Although they were husband and wife physically, their souls belonged to her. She was only here to complete the mission. After completing the mission, she would leave this world. She had no right to use this body to do anything against reason. It was like a strange question. If one day your mother and your girlfriend exchanged souls, you had to have sex to get rid of this state. Would your sex be the mother's body with your girlfriend's soul, or your sex be the mother's soul with your girlfriend's body? It was difficult to choose because both were immoral. Ningxu turned over with her back facing Yu. She kept thinking about how to complete the mission. Since entering this world, Ningxu had been in a state of dissociation because she did not have a definite goal to strive for. She did not know what the original owner of this body wanted at all, so she was also in a state of confusion. Ningxu scratched her head. She calmed herself down and put herself in Wei Lingxian's shoes. If she were Wei Lingxian, she would be a genuine feudal woman. She was born dependent on men. Society had a lot of restrictions on women and required them to be faithful to one man. This kind of thinking was deeply rooted in Wei Lingxian's mind. Then it would be impossible for her to get divorced. Women who were divorced by their husbands would have to bear a lot of pressure in society. Some women even chose to commit suicide because they were too ashamed to live. Therefore, even if Yu hurt her deeply, Yu was still her husband. Chapter 384. Ningxu cursed in his heart. Why did he accept such a mission? Ningxu wasn't really a woman from a feudal society. Even if he put himself in her shoes, he would still be biased. Besides, Ning Shu didn't want to give Wei Lingxian an ending that she couldn't accept. Ning Shu was a modern person. Fuck, she could cripple in you, tear Mary Sue apart, get a divorce, or find a man who truly loved her. But circumstances didn't allow it. Besides, this man could be found easily. Wei Lingxian, who would truly love and get a divorce, wasn't tempted. It wasn't that Wei Lingxian wasn't good, but the circumstances were. Therefore, she had to protect her position as the wife. She couldn't do anything wrong and make public opinion side with her. There was also Wei Lingxian's son and daughter. Ning Shu didn't know what to do with them. These two children were undoubtedly ingrates. They were both on Princess Mingzhu's side and even criticized their own mother for Princess Mingzhu's sake. Ning Shu was also bitterly disappointed in the two children. However, they were Wei Lingxian's flesh and blood. Wei Lingxian had painstakingly raised them with joy. It was instinctive to protect one's children. Even if these two children hurt Wei Lingxian deeply, would Wei Lingxian be willing to see the mission enforcers bully her children? She could scold and hit her own children, but others couldn't touch them. When she was the empress, Ning Shu changed the little kid's fate and made him the emperor. Empress Xiao Xiao even gave her the halo of an empress. Obviously, in the hearts of most women, children were very important. Blood ties couldn't be cut. Fuck, he really wanted to die. What kind of mission was this? 2333, what kind of mission did you accept? Ning Shu was furious. He vented his anger at 2333. How many times have you tricked me? 2333, this kind of mission is random. It has nothing to do with me, 2333 said. I can only try my best to figure out Wei Lingxian's thoughts. Then what do you think Wei Lingxian wants? Ning Shu asked 2333. I'm just a system. How would I understand the thoughts of humans, especially the thoughts of women? Ning Shu, holy shit, Ning Shu was at a loss the whole night. She pulled out a lot of her hair, but in her heart, she was thinking, what's the point of a woman's life? Marry, have children, work hard for a family, and in the end, these men won't take it to heart. So much so that when they met their true love, they would immediately forget about all these years of mutual help. Wasn't it good to live a peaceful life? Why did he have to make so many uncontrollable feelings? Live a peaceful life? Ning Shu suddenly had an idea. Right? Wei Lingxian hated Princess Mingzhu the most. Because of Princess Mingzhu's appearance, everyone in the general's mansion had fallen into hysteria. Their love and hatred had expanded infinitely. A father is not a father, and a son is not a son. Father and son are fighting over a woman. The entire general's mansion was destroyed because of this woman. What Wei Lingxian wanted the most was to return to the days without Princess Mingzhu. Although she worked hard to manage the general's mansion, she still had to worry about An Yu, who was away on an expedition. However, Wei Lingxian's heart was calm and peaceful. All a woman wanted was a home, a stable home. Those were the best days of Wei Lingxian's life. Ning Shu let out a long breath. Her erratic heart calmed down. At least she had a goal to strive for. Why aren't you sleeping? An Yu's voice rang out beside her. Ning Shu shifted to the side and said, General, I'm worried about An Yu. What's An Yu worried about? An Yu's voice was hoarse from waking up. Ning Shu was speechless. She said, An Yu is already 17 years old. He's about to get married and have children, but he doesn't have a job. He doesn't have any fame or fortune. I remember that you were already on the battlefield when you were 17. An Yu grunted. That's true. Ning Shu said, so I was wondering if I could find a job for An Yu. He likes to practice martial arts. I want him to join the army. Join the army? Are you willing? I don't think Mother will agree, An Yu said. He's not my child. What's there to be reluctant about? Ning Shu was silent. An Yu said he would think about it. At breakfast the next day, An Yu told the old madam that An Yu should join the army. The old madam didn't agree. Joining the army for 2 or 3 months and not seeing her grandson made the old madam's heart ache. An Yu obviously didn't expect her father to suddenly ask her to join the army. An Yu looked at the gentle Princess Mingzhu. Princess Mingzhu exclaimed and covered her mouth. She said to An Yu, it's so dangerous to join the army. Why do you want an Yu to join the army? Ning Shu smiled gracefully and said in an extremely dignified manner, "It's a man's duty to protect the country and fulfill his ambitions. Princess, why can't an Yu join the army?" Princess Mingzhu looked at Ning Shu in astonishment. She said, "But an Yu is your son. How can you ignore his life and death?" Princess Mingzhu frowned tightly. Her face was full of, "How can you be so cold-blooded?" The old madam didn't look happy. She was dissatisfied with Ning Shu. The old madam was old and not as decisive as she was when she was young. When she was young, she also pushed her son in Yu into the battlefield and became the general of Jinwei today. But Princess Mingzhu's words made her want to kill in Yu immediately. Ning Shu looked at Princess Mingzhu. Her casual actions and words would cause a huge dispute and sharp confrontation. Was she really innocent, or did she bring trouble to others with this kind of personality? Ning Shu wanted an Yu to leave the general's mansion so that an Yu wouldn't be caught in the whirlpool of father and son fighting for a daughter. Ning Shu looked at an Yu and asked, "An Yu, what do you think? Don't you want to be like your father?" An Yu looked at Princess Mingzhu, but Princess Mingzhu was looking at an Yu. Ning Shu looked at an Yu. Princess Mingzhu had just arrived at the general's mansion yesterday, but an Yu was already like this. Princess Mingzhu was really charming. Her gentle and weak appearance made men want to protect her the most. And Yu said, "I'll think about it." Ning Shu didn't say anything. He really didn't want to care about these two children, especially when he thought about the plot in the novel. It was simply too frustrating. As soon as Princess Mingzhu dropped Jin Daodu, everyone began to criticize her. Princess Mingzhu knew that she was wrong, but she wouldn't change. They were true love, and they didn't do anything wrong. She tried to use an apology to erase all the hurt. In fact, it was really scary to think about it. You couldn't avoid it because she would constantly confess to you, over and over again, and unconsciously stab you in the heart again and again. During breakfast, old Madame Fu's expression was gloomy. Moreover, she displayed it openly for Ning Shu to see. Usually, the old madam wouldn't show such a face to her daughter-in-law, which meant that she was really dissatisfied. Chapter 385. After breakfast, Ning Shu followed the old lady into the room. The old lady sat in a chair and drank tea, ignoring Ning Shu. Ning Shu walked over and poured a cup of tea for the old lady. He said calmly, "Mother is angry that I sent an Yu to the army." The old lady snorted. Ning Shu didn't care about the old lady's angry face. He said carefully, "I'll tell you something from the bottom of my heart. Mother should know what kind of person I am. I've called you mother for more than 20 years. You're like my real mother. I have no choice but to do this." The old lady's face softened a little. She couldn't put down her pride and said, "Why do you have to send an Yu to the army?" Ning Shu pursed his lips and said, "Everyone in the general's mansion is different from Princess Mingzhu. Princess Mingzhu is an unmarried woman. If her reputation is damaged in the general's mansion, the Empress Dowager will blame us. How can the general's mansion bear the responsibility? And you and Princess Mingzhu are about the same age. Especially now that Princess Mingzhu is still in her mourning period, it will be a big scandal. I'm taking precautions." As Ning Shu spoke, he showed a distressed and helpless expression. "And Yu is my son. How can I not feel distressed? But for the general's mansion and to train in Yu, I didn't sleep last night. After thinking it over and over again, I can only do this." The old lady frowned. She held the cane in her hand and kept turning it. Obviously, she was thinking about the consequences of this matter. Finally, she hit the cane and said, "Let's do it." The old lady asked an Yu to send an Yu to the army as quickly as possible. Moreover, it was the army of Lizhou, which was some distance away from the capital. The army of Lizhou was the most valiant of all the armies, and they were all veterans. If an Yu, a pretty boy, didn't work hard, he would be miserable. And you meant to put an Yu in the Agile Cavalry Battalion in the capital. After all, he could take care of an Yu. However, Ning Shu was determined to put an Yu in Lizhou. How could they meet in the capital all the time? The old lady glanced at Princess Mingzhu and saw that her grandson looked at Princess Mingzhu differently. She immediately nodded, waved her hand, and sent her away. If this drags on, I'm afraid something bad will happen. Ning Shu did this on purpose. He wanted to make Yu suffer and take her mother's care for her as a matter of course. It was like raising a wolf for nothing. Before Yu could confess, she was packed up and sent away. Perhaps she had some vague feelings for Princess Mingzhu, whom she had only met a few times. Even if it's just a hazy feeling, I'm going to grind it out for you. And you wouldn't die. After all, he was the supporting male lead. But even if he didn't die, he would lose a layer of skin. Once Yu left, Ning Shu felt much more relaxed. He looked at the elegant and refined Princess Mingzhu and smiled. Especially when he heard Princess Mingzhu ask Ning Shu, "Why didn't you send Yu off?" Ning Shu's smile became even more dignified. "Junja may not know, but if us womenfolk go, it will make the soldiers of Liz Ho look down on Yu. In the future, they will target Yu even more." Mingzhu's face was filled with disapproval. "Since you know those people have bad intentions, why did you send Yu over?" Ning Shu was speechless. He couldn't communicate with her. After Yu left for a while, Ning Shu found that there was something wrong with Yu. He was often in a daze. He was either distressed or had an irrepressible sweetness. Ning Shu knew that some things were bound to happen eventually. This was the plot and couldn't be resisted. What Ning Shu had to do was to minimize the damage. In order to prevent the general's mansion from falling apart, Ning Shu chose to protect the two children and give up Yu. And Ling Yun and Princess Mingzhu became good friends. And Ling Yun had the power to manage the mansion and often spent some money to buy things with Princess Mingzhu. Princess Mingzhu lived in Yunzhou and lived a very rich life. She had a good taste and bought expensive and rare things. And Ling Yun also spent a lot of money. When the old lady occasionally checked the account book, she was shocked and hurriedly asked Ning Shu to go over. Ning Shu looked at the account book and then looked at the uneasy Ling Yun. Princess Mingzhu was standing next to Ling Yun delicately. "Ling Yun, where did the money go? You are a member of the Guan family and the livelihood of the entire general's mansion is in your hands. If you use the money, the entire general's mansion may have no food to eat," Ning Shu said to Ling Yun in a calm tone. And Ling Yun twisted her handkerchief with her fingers and lowered her head, unable to say a word for a long time. "What happened?" Yu walked in and asked. As soon as Yu came in, Princess Mingzhu's eyes were fixed on him. Yu met her eyes and immediately looked away. Princess Mingzhu looked sad. Yu's heart ached, but he forced himself to endure it. Ning Shu told Yu what happened. Yu frowned and didn't say anything. Ning Shu said again, "Ling Yun, there should be a record of every expenditure. What did you buy with the money? You are not young anymore. You can't be so capricious." Seeing that her good friend was being scolded, Countess Mingzhu suddenly knelt down, which shocked everyone in the room. Ning Shu reacted first and knelt down. The old lady hesitated for a moment and also knelt down. Seeing that his mother knelt down, Yu also knelt down. And Ling Yun was at a loss and didn't know what had happened. Seeing everyone in the room kneel down, she knelt down as well. "Please forgive us. You are a princess. How can you kneel in front of us? We don't deserve it." Ning Shu said, "If the Empress Dowager knows that you have been wronged in the general's mansion will be blamed. Please forgive us." Princess Mingzhu's heart ached when she saw Yu kneeling in front of her. Was this the distance between her and the god? She didn't care about being a princess at all. Even if she wanted to stay with the god like a cat or a dog, she wanted to be with him. However, he had a graceful wife, a pair of children, and the warmth she yearned for in the general's mansion. Mingzhu's words were stuck in her throat. Finally, she said, "Madam, please don't blame Ling Yun. She went out with me. If it's because of money, I'm willing to take out my money. Please don't blame Ling Yun." "Damn it. It's not a matter of money. I educated my daughter. It's none of your business." With Ning Shu's bad temper, he would have whipped her long ago. However, in this task, she had to keep calm to avoid falling into the crazy and depressing situation of the host. Hearing that Mingzhu pleaded for her, Ling Yun was grateful. Yu looked at Princess Mingzhu and felt that she was the kindest and purest woman he had ever met. However, there were too many things between them. Once they took a step forward, everything would be destroyed. Chapter 386. The matter of money was left unsettled. And you personally said that it was not a big deal and that it was not a big deal to buy something for Princess Mingzhu. When Ning Shu heard this, he sneered in his heart. Damn, the entire general's mansion owed Princess Mingzhu. If she said no now, would there be a rumor tomorrow that the general's mansion mistreated the orphan? Damn, it was simply infuriating. However, he still had to keep a smile on his face. The aura of calmness flowed into his heart, making Ning Shu feel like he was in a world of ice and fire. The old madam was so angry that her whole body was trembling, but Yu, as her son, did not notice. Ning Shu originally wanted to work with the old madam to destroy Princess Mingzhu and protect the general's mansion before this matter was exposed. Going against Princess Mingzhu was actually going against the entire royal family, so he had to be careful with his strategy. However, the little heir suddenly fell ill and fainted in the school. This time, Princess Mingzhu went crazy. The little heir was the future of King Yan's mansion, so she cried for the imperial physician to save her brother. Ning Shu looked at Princess Mingzhu, who was crying her heart out as if the sky was falling down. Ning Shu rolled her eyes. She usually did not care about her younger brother, but she rushed all the way from Yunzhou to the capital. As soon as she reached the capital, she let the little heir enter the royal school. Usually, she only knew to tell the little heir that she wanted to revitalize King Yan's mansion. On Mingzhu's birthday, the little heir did not go to school and went to buy a gift for his sister. He was actually beaten by Mingzhu. After explaining, Mingzhu hugged the little heir and cried as she apologized. The little heir was traumatized. The imperial physician diagnosed that the little heir had caught a cold, which was contagious. In ancient times, colds were fatal. Seeing Mingzhu's desperate and sad look, Yu insisted on staying to take care of the little heir despite the old madam's objection. Looking at Yu's proactive attitude, she guessed that even her own mother did not receive such treatment when she was sick. Therefore, Yu stayed in Mingzhu's courtyard all day long. The two of them were originally affectionate. After the little heir fell ill, the two of them almost broke through the window paper between them. However, their actions were filled with the sweetness of lovers. Ning Shu felt that she needed to have a good talk with her daughter. Last time, it was because of the money. After dinner, Ning Shu took Lingyun for a walk. Ning Shu looked at Lingyun's pretty face. The original owner really did spoil his children. Instead, he let them grow up to be so ignorant. Coupled with the influence of the main character aura, they basically didn't have the ability to think. Ning Shu had seen many brainless people kneeling under the halo. However, Ning Shu didn't know how to communicate with Lingyun. Teaching her a lesson would only cause her to have a rebellious mentality. If he was gentle, she wouldn't learn from her mistakes. She wouldn't know pain until the stick hit her. And Lingyun and Ning Shu strolled like this. When they passed by the fake mountain, they heard a sound coming from the shadows. Ning Shu stopped and asked Lingyun to keep quiet. It seemed to be Yu's voice. There are many things that we can ignore, but there are many things that we can't ignore. To me, you're too beautiful, too good, too young, and too noble. You're a princess of the imperial family, and I'm already 40 years old. I have a wife and children. I can't give you a perfect love. Since I can't give you that, I still let myself go and provoke you. I deserve to die. Princess Mingzhu was in great pain. You've returned to your original world. All the responsibilities, family ties, status are surrounding you. Don't worry, I still have this little bit of pride. I won't pester you. What are you talking about? Yu's handsome face was filled with pain. He grabbed her wrist and shook her. If you can't truly understand my heart, I'm not thinking about myself now. I'm thinking about you. Your future, it's more important than my own matters. I love someone, but it doesn't mean that I have the right to destroy them. Princess Mingzhu's eyes shone brightly. Princess Mingzhu cried and laughed at the same time. Her voice trembled. I'm satisfied to hear you say that you love me. You said the word, love. You said your true heart. That's enough. And you, I love you too. I'll always remember the first time we met. You rode a horse and rushed over like a god descending from the sky to save me. From that day on, in my heart, you became my master, my God, my faith, my love, and my heart's connection. I can't help it. I'm just like that. So, if you want me to keep a distance from you, fine. If you want me to control my gaze, fine. If you want me to talk to you as little as possible, there's only one thing that you can't control, and you can't control me. That's my heart. Princess Mingzhu looked at Yu with infatuation. The tears in her eyes had turned into 2 clusters of flames. There was a kind of power burning fiercely toward Yu. With a resolute expression, she said, "I'll never take back the love I've given you, and I'll never repent. Even if it's just a game to you, it's an eternity to me." And Yu looked at Princess Mingzhu. His pupils were trembling. He was too shocked. After she said such a thing, he couldn't say anything else. Compared with her indomitable spirit, how shabby had he become? And Yu felt ashamed of his inferiority in front of her. Amidst the feeling of inferiority, there was also the most intense, most painful, most heartbreaking love. He had never experienced this kind of love in his life. And Yu gazed at Princess Mingzhu. Under the moonlight, her face was glowing like a pearl. There was deep affection and despair on her face. And Yu couldn't speak or think. He was completely immersed in an unprecedented shock. He had such sincere, pure, and passionate love. He was terrified, but he was also glad. Ning Shu was speechless. Master, my God, my faith, what the hell was this? After hearing Princess Mingzhu's words, Ning Shu's teeth were so sore that he couldn't even feel them. She was honest and shameless. Ning Shu's worldview was completely refreshed. And Ling Yun pointed at the 2 people over there. Ning Shu looked over and saw that Yu and Mingzhu were already hugging and kissing each other. Ning Shu pulled Ling Yun, who was in a daze, away and pulled her into his room. And Ling Yun was so angry that her face turned ashen. How could Mingzhu do this? How could she snatch father away? I've always treated her as my sister-in-law in my heart. Ning Shu's face darkened. And Ling Yun immediately shut her mouth, but her expression was still full of anger. She was angry that Mingzhu had lied to her. Ning Shu looked at the indignant Ling Yun. At this time, Ling Yun didn't speak up for her. She didn't even speak up for her mother. How could she save such a child? She was most afraid of meeting such a simple-minded and brainless person who would hurt her deeply. Ning Shu felt very tired. Chapter 387. Ning Shu didn't expect them to express their feelings so quickly. How long had it been? Princess Mingzhu had only been in the general's mansion for a little more than a month. This made the 2 of them burn with passion. They could no longer suppress the feelings in their hearts. And Yuming was aware of his responsibilities, identity, and status, but he still did not hesitate. He no longer suppressed his surging emotions and threw himself into this passionate love like a moth darting into a flame. Princess Mingzhu was even more so. Her God, her master, and her master responded to her feelings, which was enough to make her wild with joy. Ning Shu was a bystander. He couldn't see how desperate the love between them was. He only felt disgusted. He couldn't understand why such a love was respected and supported by everyone in the end. Logic was fed to the dogs. And Ling Yun was angry that Princess Mingzhu lied to her. She took a detour when she saw Princess Mingzhu. Especially when Ling Yun saw Princess Mingzhu's bright red face and her incomparably beautiful appearance, she was so angry that she could not vent her anger. When Princess Mingzhu saw her good friend treat her like this, she was still happy that her feelings were reciprocated. Her heart gradually cooled down. She wanted everyone's blessings, especially Ling Yun, who was Yu's daughter. Mingzhu wept as she stopped Ling Yun and asked, "Ling Yun, why are you treating me like this? Did I do something wrong? If I did something wrong, please tell me. You ignoring me like this makes me feel very uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. I don't want to lose a friend like you, I beg you." And Ling Yun waved her hand away and said coldly, "Princess, I treated you as a friend, but I didn't expect you to like my father." Princess Mingzhu was shocked and depressed when she heard Lingyun say what she had tried so hard to hide. She shook her head and said painfully, "Lingyun, I didn't want to lie to you, but I really couldn't help it. I fell in love with your father without knowing where it came from. I couldn't suppress my feelings. Even if there was a cliff in front of me, I would jump down without hesitation." And Lingyun was shocked. But my mother." And Lingyun struggled. That was her father, her mother's husband. Princess Mingzhu grabbed Lingyun's hand and said humbly, "Lingyun, I have never thought of destroying your family. I just want to stay by your father's side and watch him from afar. I just want to watch him from afar." And Lingyun was speechless. She looked at Princess Mingzhu's beautiful face and the tears on her eyelashes. She looked very pitiful. And Lingyun's heart softened. "I really lose to you." Princess Mingzhu laughed and cried at the same time. She grabbed Lingyun's hand and said, "Lingyun, thank you for forgiving me. Thank you. I'm just shocked by you." And Lingyun shook her head, looking like she couldn't do anything about it. Ning Shu, who was standing in the corridor not far away, clutched his chest and almost spat out a mouthful of blood. "She wanted to be your little mother. How could you forgive her so easily?" The veins on Ning Shu's forehead bulged when he saw the two of them holding hands again. How could Princess Mingzhu be so shameless as to say such things? She looked so pure and innocent. She snatched someone else's husband and did it without hesitation. Didn't Lingyun have the ability to distinguish between right and wrong? He felt so stifled. Ning Shu hammered his chest. He had lived long enough to see things like this. "Madam, you?" Looked at Ning Shu worriedly. "Madam, are you all right?" "I'm fine. Go and find old madam." Ning Shu coughed and went to find old madam. Ning Shu wanted to protect the general's residence, not destroy it. The general's residence was already a small boat in a storm. She couldn't sink the boat just to take revenge on some people. The general's residence was where Wei Lingxian could settle down. Therefore he had to find an ally. And old madam was an ally. Old madam had lost her father and supported the entire family on her own. She had also found a virtuous wife like Wei Lingxian for Yu so that Yu could focus on his career. Old madam was the best at manipulating people. All these years, she had never argued with Wei Lingxian. Wei Lingxian was filial and virtuous, and she had never interfered in the matters between Yu and Wei Lingxian. Even if Yu didn't have a concubine in his backyard, old madam didn't mind. This made Wei Lingxian feel even more respect for her mother-in-law. Ning Shu walked into old madam's courtyard and heard her personal maid say that she was taking a nap. Ning Shu didn't say anything and waited outside for her to wake up. The maid brought a stool for Ning Shu, and Ning Shu sat down with a faint smile. Ning Shu waited for almost 2 hours before there was movement in the room. It was obvious that old madam had just woken up. After a while, the maid called Ning Shu in. Ning Shu reached out to straighten his clothes before walking in. Old madam was drinking tea when she saw Ning Shu's red eyes. She was stunned for a moment before she asked, "What's wrong?" "Mother, I have something to say to you in private," Ning Shu said. Old madam had all the maids in the room leave before Ning Shu said, "Go ahead. There's nothing that can't be said between us." Ning Shu told old madam everything he saw last night. When old madam heard this, her hand that was holding the teacup trembled, and the tea spilled out. Ning Shu stepped forward, took the teacup from old madam's hand, and placed it on the table. Old madam looked very tired. "Why doesn't Yu know his place? What will you and Princess Mingzhu do if he does this?" Old madam's expression was uncertain. "You can't do this." Ning Shu was not surprised at old madam's attitude. A widowed woman raising her eldest son must have gone through unimaginable hardships. Old madam had a lot to do with the fact that old madam could make the general's mansion what it was today. It was impossible for a princess of the royal family to be a concubine of a general. This was a challenge to the authority of the royal family. If Yu divorced his wife and remarried, he would definitely be blamed for Chen Shimi. Besides, Wei Lingxian didn't do anything excessive. She didn't violate the rule of 7 divorces. She even gave birth to 2 children and took good care of the general's mansion. Old madam was famous for being virtuous. If she divorced Wei Lingxian, what would people think of the general's mansion? Old Madam was a woman who had lost her husband, so she cared a lot about her reputation. Princess Mingzhu was also an ignorant person. If she could bear the responsibility of being the first wife of the general's mansion, she would be born to be a concubine. That was why Old Madam was so against Mingzhu and Enyu in the plot. However, Old Madam was more rational, while the original owner fell into endless pain and depression, which made her behavior a little crazy. The room was silent for a moment. Ning Shu and Old Madam didn't speak. The atmosphere was so heavy that it made people hold their breaths. Old Madam closed her eyes. When she opened them, she looked at Ning Shu and asked, "What do you think we should do about this?" Chapter 388. The old lady asked for Ning Shu's opinion. If this matter was not handled well, it would be a disaster for the general's mansion. The old lady couldn't suppress her anger and disappointment, but she held it back. She pulled the beads in her hand quickly. Her son had done such an irresponsible thing at his age. The old lady had a shadow in her heart when she saw the two of them riding on the same horse. If Enyu was unmarried and a royal princess married his son, it would be good for his son's future. But now Princess Mingzhu might bring disaster to the general's mansion. The old lady tried her best to steady her breath. Ning Shu asked, "Lingxian, what do you think?" "I'm in a mess. I'm afraid that something will happen to the general's mansion. If Princess Mingzhu was not a royal princess, I would marry her for Enyu. But Princess Mingzhu is the descendant of King Yan. She is still in mourning. I'm afraid that the Empress Dowager will blame the general's mansion." Ning Shu looked depressed and sad. "I sent Enyu away before, but I didn't expect Enyu to be like this. I didn't expect Enyu to... Mother, what do you think?" Ning Shu kicked the ball to the old lady again. "I have no idea now. The general's mansion, Enyu, Princess Mingzhu, and Ling Yun, who is Princess Mingzhu's friend." The old lady pulled the beads faster and faster. Finally, the beads scattered and the round beads rolled on the ground. The old lady suddenly opened her eyes. "You go to the palace with me." Ning Shu thought so. Even if Princess Mingzhu wanted to go to the battlefield, she couldn't run out of the general's mansion. Ning Shu went back to his yard and put on the third-rank noble lady's robe. When he came out, the old lady had already put on the robe and got on the carriage. Ning Shu handed the token to the palace and helped the old lady to the Empress Dowager's palace. After paying respects to the Empress Dowager asked about Princess Mingzhu. The old lady said respectfully, "Princess Mingzhu is very good. I'm afraid that I didn't take good care of her and neglected her." The Empress Dowager said with a smile, "Mingzhu is not a picky child. Please take care of her." The old lady's face darkened for a moment. Ning Shu watched from the side. He wondered how this absurd and illogical thing could happen. Why should the general's mansion support Princess Mingzhu? The matriarch hesitated for a moment before saying, "Empress Dowager, this subject's wife is afraid because this subject's grandson, Enyu, is planning to get married. Furthermore, Princess Mingzhu is still in mourning. This subject's wife is somewhat afraid that this happy occasion will offend Yan Wangying's spirit." When the Empress Dowager heard this, she was in a trance for a moment. She seemed to have just remembered that Princess Mingzhu was still in mourning. Ning Shu was too tired to complain. In this world, other than love, everything else could be ignored. The old lady said a few more words to the Empress Dowager. Seeing that the Empress Dowager was already tired, she tactfully excused herself. From the beginning to the end, Ning Shu didn't say anything. He just accompanied the old lady. Coming out of the palace, the old lady's figure was a little hunched. Ning Shu felt that this old lady was quite strong. Enyu was an unfilial son. Like father, like son. Wei Lingxian's child was also like this. He resented his own mother for a woman. The old lady went to rest as soon as she returned to the manor. Ning Shu was wondering when the Empress Dowager would call Princess Mingzhu back to the palace. Ever since Enyu and Mingzhu revealed their relationship, Enyu rarely came to Ning Shu's courtyard at night. Enyu was afraid that Princess Mingzhu would be angry. After receiving such a warm and sincere feeling, Enyu realized that he only respected his wife and didn't love her. She slept in the study every night, saying that she was reading military books. Ning Shu pretended that he didn't know anything. It was better for her to sleep alone. Not long after, the Empress Dowager sent someone to the general's mansion. She said that the King of Yen was about to reach the 7th day of his life. The emperor had asked an eminent monk to perform a ritual. As the King of Yan's descendants, Princess Mingzhu and the Crown Prince should go to the palace. Enyu and Mingzhu heard the news. At night, Enyu sneaked into Mingzhu's courtyard. Seeing Mingzhu crying alone, he was heartbroken. He hugged Mingzhu from behind. Mingzhu was shocked and struggled. "Mingyu, it's me," Enyu said in a low voice. Mingzhu immediately stopped struggling and just cried. Enyu turned Mingzhu's body. Seeing Mingzhu's tears falling like rain, his heart ached even more. He couldn't help kissing Mingzhu's eyes. "Don't cry. Do you know that seeing you cry makes me feel so useless? I want to kill myself." Mingzhu covered Enyu's mouth. "I won't allow you to say that. I'm going to the palace tomorrow. Enyu, I don't want to leave you. I don't want to go to the palace. I feel like I'm going to die if I leave the general's mansion, Enyu." Enyu said, "It's okay. You'll come back." Mingzhu hugged Enyu. "I'm happy, but I'm also in pain. Enyu, I'll work hard to make everyone recognize us. Mingzhu, you're so nice." The next day, Ning Shu looked at Enyu and Princess Mingzhu. The two of them were like White Snake who was going to be locked in Leifeng Pagoda. Princess Mingzhu cried in front of the nanny sent by the Empress Dowager. She went to the palace to kowtow to the dead King of Yen. Why did her father perform a ritual as if she was going to die? The nanny didn't know what to say. And you looked like he was enduring the pain. Ning Shu thought he was constipated. Although the two of them were in pain, the carriage still left. And you couldn't help but take a few steps as if he wanted to chase after the carriage. Princess Mingzhu lifted the curtain in the carriage. When she saw Enyu standing at the gate of the general's mansion, she burst into tears. The old lady's face was dark all the time. Ning Shu was watching the show. He was not moved. He only felt inexplicable and disgusted. Since Princess Mingzhu entered the palace, Enyu had become very dispirited. He sighed sorrowfully and was often in a daze. He was lovesick that only Princess Mingzhu could cure. Moreover, he had lost weight. Ning Shu thought it was too exaggerated. One day apart felt like 3 years. The religious rite lasted for 7 days, and it was time for Princess Mingzhu to come back. Enyu had been waiting at the entrance of the general's mansion since early in the morning. He had cleaned himself up and looked handsome, completely different from the decadent look he had shown a few days ago. However, Enyu didn't see Princess Mingzhu at the gate of the general's mansion until it was dark. He didn't eat or drink for the whole day. Ning Shu thought, so affectionate, so touched. Them. The old lady asked Ning Shu to invite Enyu into the mansion for dinner. Ning Shu went to invite Enyu, but Enyu ignored Ning Shu and looked in the direction of the palace. Ning Shu said, "You can eat or not." Without Princess Mingzhu in the general's mansion, Ning Shu could eat and sleep well. However, in front of the old lady, Ning Shu pretended to be very worried about Enyu. It seemed that he couldn't eat and only ate the dishes. Chapter 389. The sky gradually darkened, but Enyu had been waiting at the gate of the general's mansion. Seeing her father like this, Lingyun immediately felt distressed. At the same time, she was also moved by the sincere relationship between her father and Princess Mingzhu. Ning Shu saw the expression on Lingyun's face and was moved and shocked. Ning Shu's hands were itching to slap her face. What position did she place her mother in? And Lingyun ran to the gate and said to her father, "Father, go in and eat something first." And Lingyun waved her hand and didn't say anything. And Lingyun lifted her skirt and ran into the general's mansion. She said to Ning Shu, "Mother, go and persuade father. Father's body won't be able to take it if he continues like this." Ning Shu was speechless. At this moment, Ning Shu didn't know what to do at all. Fuck, even if Enyu died, it had nothing to do with her. It was better for him to die quickly. And Lingyun saw Ning Shu's cold face and didn't say anything. Finally, she sighed. Ning Shu sneered in his heart. Soon, you won't have the mood to care about these sad things. And you kept waiting like this. The old lady stood at the gate with her walking stick and looked at Yu. She sighed and kept muttering, "Evil creature, evil creature." In the end, it was Princess Mingzhu who bribed a little eunuch in the palace. The little eunuch found the general's mansion and said to Yu, who was guarding the gate, "General Zhenwei, Princess Mingzhu was left in the palace by the Empress Dowager. She can't leave the palace until the princess is out of service. Princess Mingzhu asked you to find a way to save her. And you had been hungry for a day and hadn't eaten anything." When he heard this, his body shook twice. He grabbed the little eunuch's body and shook it. He roared, "How could this be? How could this be?" The little eunuch was shocked by Yu's shaking. He quickly said, "I don't know. I don't know anything." Yu's eyes rolled back and he fainted. Ning Shu exclaimed and hurriedly ran over. He kicked Yu without leaving a trace, but Yu didn't have any reaction. It seemed that he had fainted. Old Madame Fu's face was full of anxiety and worry. She also expected better from Yu. Yu was almost 30 years old, but he was like a young boy, risking his life for a woman. Yu, who had fainted, was brought in. He fed him some water and called for the doctor. The doctor said that he was too angry and weak. In any case, Ning Shu just kept feeding Yu water. "Father is so pitiful." And Ling Yun clenched her fists. "He can't meet Princess Mingzhu." "Father, you have to wake up. Princess Mingzhu is still waiting for you to save her," and Ling Yun said to the unconscious Yu. Ning Shu was speechless. How could there be such an unscrupulous person? Was the Empress Dowager in the Imperial Palace going to kill Princess Mingzhu or something? She actually wanted to save her in the Imperial Palace. These words were really disgraceful. How did this child grow up? How did the original owner teach his child? Old Madame Fu stroked her chest as if she was about to have a heart attack. Ning Shu hurriedly asked the maid to help Old Madame Fu to rest. Old Madame Fu didn't force him. She said that if Yu woke up, she would send someone to inform her. Ning Shu nodded. Ning Shu said coldly to Ling Yun, "You also go to rest. I'll look after your father." Seeing Ning Shu like this, Ling Yun said with some indignation, "Mother, why do you think the Empress Dowager doesn't let Princess Mingzhu return to the general's mansion?" Ning Shu wanted to roll his eyes. He wondered if Ling Yun was living in a feudal society where the emperor's orders were greater than heaven. Did the Empress Dowager need to explain to you what she wanted to do? Princess Mingzhu is a princess of the royal family. What's wrong with her living in the imperial palace? For example, you are a member of the general's mansion. If you live in the general's mansion, why don't you live in the minister's mansion? Ning Shu said coldly. And Ling Yun said again, "But Princess Mingzhu has already treated the general's mansion as her own home. If you treat the minister's mansion as your home, then the minister's mansion is your home?" Ning Shu's tone became colder. She was simply a muddle-headed person. And Ling Yun felt very uncomfortable after being scolded by Ning Shu. "Mother, don't you like Princess Mingzhu? She's so beautiful." Ning Shu said, "Go and rest. I'll wait for your father to wake up. Get lost. I want to hit someone now." And Ling Yun could only leave. Ning Shu pulled open Yu's clothes, revealing a strong and scarred body. He turned Yu over and stabbed a silver needle into his back. And Yu, who was unconscious, groaned and sweated profusely. Ning Shu pulled out the silver needle and waited by the bed for Yu to wake up. Yu slept all night and only woke up the next morning. When he woke up, his face was sallow. He ignored Ning Shu, who had been watching over him all night, and lifted the quilt to go into the imperial palace to see Princess Mingzhu. However, after taking 2 steps, he collapsed on the ground. Yu had not eaten for a day and a night. He was so hungry that he had no strength. The old lady came in with her walking stick. When she saw Yu, she raised her walking stick and wanted to hit him. However, when she saw the haggard Yu, she held her walking stick in the air for a long time. "Yu, what are you doing? You're so muddle-headed that you can't see things clearly. It's impossible between you and Princess Mingzhu," the old lady said sternly with her walking stick. Yu said, "I'm muddle-headed. I don't want to see things clearly." After meeting Mingzhu, I feel that my life is not in vain. My life can be colorful, even if it's short. Colorful fireworks, right? They deserved to die in the end. Ningxu looked at the old lady with a hurt, painful, and constipated expression. Mother! The old lady forced Yu to drink some porridge. Yu, who was drinking a bowl of porridge, looked at Ningxu. He walked over and grabbed Ningxu's wrist. He used so much strength that Ningxu's wrist hurt. It's you. It must be you. Yu roared at Ningxu. Ningxu's face trembled. He felt that his face was splashed with saliva by Yu. Damn it, it's so disgusting. He really wanted to kick Yu's crotch. Ningxu said in a trembling voice, Husband, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean by it? The old lady held her walking stick and shouted, Yu, let go of Lingxian first. We can talk about it. Ningxu struggled to get rid of Yu's control and hid behind the old lady. It must be you. As soon as you entered the palace, the Empress Dowager summoned Princess Mingzhu. It's you. It must be you. Yu pointed at Ningxu, his face full of pain and hatred. If you have anything to do with me, come at me. Why do you have to deal with Princess Mingzhu? Have you thought about how painful it must be for her to be alone in the palace? Wei Lingxian, I was wrong about you. Princess Mingzhu is just a lonely woman. Can't you tolerate her? Where did your elegance and dignity go? Ningxu was speechless. I want to kill my husband. Chapter 390. Yu's roar and accusations not only made Ningxu want to kill him, but even the matriarch was dumbfounded. She said in a daze, Yu, Lingxian is your wife. How can you say that about her? Moreover, we entered the palace together. She didn't say anything in front of the Empress Dowager. Mother, I'm your son. Why are you protecting this evil woman? If it wasn't for her, Princess Mingzhu wouldn't have entered the palace. Yu had completely lost his mind. He wanted to vent the anger in his heart, but the pain made him unable to see anything clearly. He only wanted Mingzhu. Ningxu looked at Yu's red eyes. He looked as if he had gone crazy. He lowered his head and didn't say anything. You went to the palace because you wanted to stop me and Mingzhu, right? Yu said angrily. The old madam shook her head. I went to the palace with Lingxian to ask the Empress Dowager to bestow a marriage to Yu. Once there's a suitable candidate, the Empress Dowager will bestow an honorable marriage. Yu was stunned. He pursed his lips tightly, stood up, and rushed out of the room. I don't care. I'm going to the palace to find Mingzhu. I won't allow it, the old madam said sternly. Yu was in pain and helplessness. He knelt on the ground and kowtowed to the old madam. Mother, I beg you. I can't live without Mingzhu. Without Mingzhu, I feel that there's no joy in my life. Ningxu rolled his eyes. Then you lived in pain for the first half of your life? You and Wei Lingxian helped each other in difficult times, but it was fake. Damn it. Seeing Yu's infatuated look, Ningxu was so embarrassed that her cancer of embarrassment flared up. The old madam was so angry that she was about to have a seizure. You're planning to abandon the general's mansion, your wife, and your son, and barge into the palace. What kind of place is the palace? You can go anywhere you want. Princess Mingzhu is a princess of the imperial family and lives a luxurious life in the palace. You're a man with a family. Can Princess Mingzhu be your concubine? Yu felt basin after basin of ice water being poured on his body, causing his body to tremble uncontrollably. In the end, he was still her son. The old lady was angry and distressed. She said, Yu, forget about Mingzhu. She has a noble status. In the future, her husband will definitely be a dragon or phoenix among men. Don't tell me you want to ruin her and the general's residence. Thinking that Mingzhu was going to marry someone else, Yu howled in pain like a trapped beast. Seeing his mother like this, Ningxu said, Mother, Yu's emotions are unstable now. Let him rest more. Old Madame Fu closed her eyes and locked the door to prevent Yu, who was emotionally unstable, from going out. The old lady's face had more wrinkles. She looked at Ningxu and sighed. Lingxian, it's been hard on you. Ning Shu shook his head and said, I just want to protect the general's mansion and the 2 children. You're sensible. And Yu hasn't suffered any setbacks since he was young, and his battles have been smooth sailing. I originally thought that Yu would be safe and sound, but I didn't expect such a thing to happen at this age. What kind of goo did Princess Mingzhu cast on Yu to make him so obsessed? The old lady was almost gnashing her teeth, and her tone was filled with hatred. Ning Shu's face was filled with worry, but her heart was cold. Yu was locked up, and his meals were sent in by Ning Shu. When Yu saw Ning Shu, his eyes were very cold. In front of Ning Shu, he threw all the food on the ground, and the plates shattered. Ning Shu's expression was indifferent. He didn't let anyone clean up and locked the door. He didn't care about Yu anymore. Old Madame Fu was in low spirits. When she heard Ning Shu say that Yu still didn't eat, she gritted her teeth and said, It's fine if he doesn't eat. He only knows how to eat when he's hungry. Ning Shu just curled the corner of his mouth and didn't say anything. But what Ning Shu didn't expect was that Ling Yun actually opened the door secretly and let Yu out. Yu went straight in the direction of the Imperial Palace after he went out. When Ning Shu came to deliver the food, he saw Ling Yun in the room. His expression changed. He grabbed Ling Yun's collar and dragged her directly to the ancestral hall. He kicked her leg and directly made Ling Yun kneel on the ground. Mother! Ling Yun shouted in pain. She felt that her knees were broken. She looked at Ning Shu in disbelief. How can you do this to me? Ning Shu said coldly, Repent in front of the ancestors properly. The entire general's mansion will be gone because of you. Ling Yun didn't understand. Seeing Ning Shu's cold expression, she was very scared. She wanted to say something, but she saw her mother quickly walk out and lock the ancestral hall. If you don't understand, keep kneeling. Ning Shu went directly to the stable. He took a horse and jumped on its back, heading for the Imperial Palace. Yu was crazy for love. What kind of place was the Imperial Palace? He could break in whenever he wanted. Yu had lost his mind. There was only Mingzhu in his mind. Mingzhu, what kind of power could make someone so crazy and stupid? Was it really love? If it was, then love was really a terrible thing. Now Yu was simply inhumane. When Ning Shu arrived at the entrance of the Imperial Palace, he saw Yu arguing with the guards and shouting for Princess Mingzhu. Let me in. I want to see Princess Mingzhu. General, you can't enter the Imperial Palace without the waste token and His Majesty's Imperial Edict. If you want to break in, we can only take you down as an assassin. I'm just going to the Imperial Palace to see Princess Mingzhu and the little heir. I'll see if they're doing well. I'll come out soon, Yu said patiently. When Ning Shu heard Yu's words, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The Imperial Palace was Yu's home. He could enter whenever he wanted. He kept talking about Princess Mingzhu. Did Yu really care about Princess Mingzhu's reputation? Did Yu really love Mingzhu? He didn't care about her reputation. Ning Shu hurriedly got off the horse and dragged Yu over. When Yu saw Ning Shu, he immediately said, What are you doing here? Are you also here to stop me? I'm telling you, I won't go back until I see Mingzhu. Yu wanted to shake off Ning Shu's hand, but he felt that Ning Shu was too strong. He couldn't shake him off at all. I don't care if you want to die, but I can't let you drag the general's mansion down with you. Ning Shu had never seen a person go crazy. It was as if he had been bitten by a mad dog and got rabies. He swelled again. He saw once again that great love needed to be so hysterical. The love that Ning Shu had seen was either hurting each other, trampling on others without principles, or ignoring everything hysterically. Damn it, love was a matter between two people. Why did so many people have to be involved in a love war? Damn it. Without saying anything, Ning Shu knocked Yu out with a karate chop and put Yu on the horse. Then he took out a money bag and gave it to the guards. He said, I'm sorry everyone. General is drunk. The guards weighed the money in their hands and generously said that this didn't happen. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.